Well, it was a eventful session last time. Does anyone who was there want to recap what happened?
Well, right. So we sort of met this guy. What's his name again? It was something. He's a big, giant, huge guy. Sokolov.
Sokolov,
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
one of
Yeah.
those.
Um, he was like he seemed to be like the general or the admiral in charge of this fleet.
Not quite. He was more the captain of that particular ship.
Oh, right, okay. And it's safe to say he was a pretty badass mofo. We tried some diplomacy, and we got the sense of
Negotiations broke down.
they did. So to get the sense of him, he wasn't. He was just stalling for time, or he was just like humoring us. So, yeah, bad things happened. I got nearly killed. Let's see, Varix basically punched into his brain and ripped his spine out or something like that.
Pulled his face
Yeah,
off and
more or
then
less.
climbed in and punched the spine.
That is true.
Yeah. And yes, also there was some other mysterious person running around on the ship and who took control of it.
Murdering and doppelganging his way to Captain Hood.
Yes.
Indeed, although it was apparently unbeknownst or unannounced to the rest of you as you were fighting. What happened at the end after you had defeated Zolokov?
Yeah, so the ship started to move, and it seems to be moving in the direction of home. As in,
Indeed. Why did it start to move?
because someone or something has started to move it.
Not quite. You were
No?
actually propelled out of the battle by the apparently dying attack of the giant psychic wolf of the graveyard.
Really? It's died.
It did a giant face laser at your ship in order to shoot you out of the place, and then it got swarmed by all of the other ships. And as you went flying and tumbling away at great speed, you saw a giant explosion happen at the site of the battle. So something went down.
Did the explosion encompass the other ships?
It seemed to.
Okay.
Or at least, yeah, certainly very large and seemed to be blasting the entire area. So you didn't well, actually, having said that, let's have, let's say Rogarek. Let's have a intellect roll, which is basically going to be kind of Numenera or anything else that might apply, to basically use the kind of sensors and cameras, etc., of the ship to try and observe specifically what happens there. And let's say, so basically the ship is like, as I say, literally been kind of blasted out of the arena, and you are like tumbling and spinning very fast. So it doesn't affect you inside the ship because there's very solid artificial gravity. But out of the windows, you can see the entire world kind of spinning very fast around you as you careen through the atmosphere. So given that, it's going to take some work to kind of try and calibrate and compensate the and stabilize the kind of cameras and sensors. So let's say this is going to be a difficulty 4.
Okay. I think I trained in, right before the session.
Oh, cool. Yep. And as I say, you can also use your flex skill. You can define that whenever you want.
Yeah, I did Numenera actually before the session started.
Oh, cool. Yep.
Neat.
It's,
Cool. Okay, so you are able to, or rather, you instruct the crew in the control center around you to, get a stable picture of what is happening, and you manage. They bring up a big kind of view screen. Let's say it gets projected into the kind of central area of the ship so that the others can see it as well. And what you do, in fact, see is so the giant wolf was kind of already surrounded by a good portion of the ships that were there. And just after it kind of attacks you, or shoots at you, you see it basically get swarmed by these ships, and they kind of cling onto it, and there's about half a dozen or so that basically dogpile onto it, and you see the wolf itself kind of giving you a last look before its body basically kind of erupts with a big surge of kind of energy and light. At the same time, kind of much the same is happening to the ships, and pretty much what you catch in the last glimpse before everything is kind of washed out by the sheer force and kind of energy of the explosion is they all seem to get apparently wiped out in the blast. However, you can see in the background that not all of the ships were committed to that attack. There are still several of them left. They seem to light up with kind of red flashes like alarm sounds. And as you kind of fly off into the distance and as the scene recedes on the view screen, you can see a whole bunch of little kind of flicks and flickers in the sky, which suddenly resolve into just a whole bunch more ships. Basically, they warp into place in the same area, and you can in fact see that basically several of them kind of turn in towards each other, and a kind of much larger kind of ripple forms in the space between them, and then a much larger ship thumps into place kind of between them just as you leave. Let's see.
Do you still have that little recording device going?
Yes, so that little recordy camera type thing has been like floating up towards the top of the ceiling and recording about half of the battle, and it also captures what is shown on the screen there. Let's have you make another roll, Rogarek, to basically, so you have communications with the rest of the fleet, although it's severely distorted and partially blocked by all of the energy and the speed, etc., that is occurring. But let's have you make another intellect roll to basically try and tap into their messages and see if you can pick up anything of what they're saying to themselves and possibly planning. So let's say that's another difficulty 4.
Okay.
All right, so you hear a great kind of just many different transmissions kind of seeming to overlay each other. You've managed to kind of pick up enough of the communication from, taking over the captain basically to control this ship, but the sheer volume of information and all of the kind of jargon and specific, call signs and stuff like that they're putting out is kind of basically opaque to you. Although it does at least get some of it gets captured by the drone thingamajig, but you're not able to immediately pick up anything else of their transmissions. As you go flying away from the battlefield at great speed, you're able to get like basic navigational awareness and control, and kind of eventually more or less stabilize the ship and get it flying back towards home, which is in a westerly direction.
Would the rest of us sort of, wherever we are at the minute, would we be thinking, we need to get control of the ship?
Well, yeah, I assume at this point, Rogarek, that you would kind of announce your presence.
No, I'd like to stay hidden for as long as possible.
Okay.
Are any actually those other alien dudes, the cyberdiscs and so on, in the room with us? And are they just leaving us to it now that their big bad's, the captain's gone?
Yeah, pretty much. They're in. So there are some survivors. It's possible that there are more in the other version of. In fact, let's say, if you go back through the passage and go back into the other version of the room, there is some of them still, alive. Basically, they're in all in some disarray, and they seem to have basically. Stopped what they're doing, stopped attacking you. They're not kind of shut down. They're trying to return to their kind of controls and try and fulfill the functions of the ship to try and get it back in order. But yes, they do not they seem to basically more or less be ignoring you in the absence of any other commands. Although Rogorek, if you want, you can issue commands to them.
Okay. It seems that the
In what language?
Ooh.
No, sorry, carry on.
It just seems that the logical explanation for what's happened here is that Varex killed the captain and so became the captain, which is why they don't want to hurt us anymore. I'm sure that makes sense in some way. Yeah.
I think they don't know
We
he
won.
killed the captain.
Wow.
I don't know, he stopped attacking us.
Yeah, sorry, the slightly confused with the terms here. So actually, well, the way we described it, the kind of captain, as it were, of the ship is the kind of big blue guy up in the control room who has now been taken over by Rogorek.
Oh, right.
Zolokoth, I don't know, let's call him the commander of the ship.
Okay, sorry. Commander. Is commander below a captain? I can never tell. It sounds like Star Trek.
Commander would be above, and so the captain is the guy, is the one who kind of
Right.
is in charge of the ship itself in
But
terms of
Riker's a
piloting and stuff.
commander.
And the commander in this case would be the person in charge. But it's all semantics. Like Zolokoth was kind of senior to the captain, but not in overall control of the fleet.
Now
Okay.
he's the captain of being dead.
Well, either way, I think it makes sense for us to go up to the bridge because there's not much we can do down here.
Yeah, actually, having said that, you now have access to the lift that goes up into the control center. So if you wanted, you could just go up there, see that still the aliens are not being aggressive and attacking you. And the captain seems to be flying you now. So the ship has kind of stopped spinning. It's been stabilized, but it is flying at great speed over the landscape towards the west.
That's an idea. Can I look out the giant hull of his ship, and are we anywhere that we'd recognise at this point?
Yeah, so you can already see out of the kind of windows, as it were, which is the eyes of the face mask thing that's set into the floor. So you can see, that you are traveling across the landscape, not particularly high altitude, but at very great speed. At first, you don't recognize anything in particular because you are a long way from home, but it's not long before you're starting to see features and things that you at least would recognize from maps and identify the fact that you are heading home. So I don't want to kind of get too much into the interactions of the ship because you're kind of pretty much done with control of it. I'm going to slightly railroad you and say you basically head home. So Rogorek, although it's not known to the rest of the crew if he still isn't identifying himself, but he was sent by the Akebe Corporation, and he flies you guys back, not to the city which you came from, which is called Weshrath, which is kind of in the roughly in the middle of the land. He instead flies you to what, well, it's not exactly a capital because the safe reaches are a kind of federation and network of kind of smaller fiefdoms and stuff like that. But this is certainly the biggest city in the safe reaches, and it's kind of the closest, you might say, to its capital. And in particular, it is where the greatest cathedral of the church and kind of their essentially headquarters resides. The city is called Greatest Grandkirk.
Brilliant.
The Akebe Corporation, is that the same one that we started working for so many sessions ago?
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
So having seen that you got blasted off into the far out of civilization and were essentially lost, they have been making steps to try and track you down and find your location, and it seems they're able to do that and send a agent to come and help you and retrieve you. So one way or another, the ship eventually makes a somewhat rough landing near to the city, and you are met by a kind of rescue party or kind of reception party or whatever of from the company. So it's several kind of adventurers along with a big caravan of kind of carts and medical personnel, etc. So you emerge. So let's say Rogart kind of opens the door, the face basically, and you're able to emerge blinking into the sunlight as you return home. And you get kind of first aid and immediate supplies, everything like that. Do you do anything in particular when this happens?
For now, it's just like recovering.
Yeah.
I'm just too hurt to think of much.
Yeah, so Nai got sorry, just okay, so I didn't catch your health bars before, but just to check, was it that all of your bars were almost depleted?
Really?
I don't
Was
know.
it just the might one?
Nai
you're
was
talking to-
Nai was
I
nearly
was
dead.
literally 3 speed points away from death.
Okay, yes, so the other ones were depleted. So yeah, in that case, you were indeed very close to death. You're basically unconscious, but you were tended to and saved from the brink of death by your friends during the flight over. And then as the door opens, probably Barracks is like holding you in his arms and rushes you out to the nearest kind of doctor, and they take care of you and manage to stabilize you.
Cool.
So all that happens, and the rest, so you're being taken back into the city basically, and taken to a kind of well-appointed room, with the intent of just taking basic care of you and tending to your immediate wounds, etc. The warden is there, and let's see, I have a Pikachu, if this shows up. So she looks something like that. And she greets you with something like, I took you long enough, eh? And as the giant ship that you have captured kind of smokes and creaks in the background as you are brought into the city and allowed a brief period to kind of rest yourselves up. The doctors kind of give you various healing balms and whatnot to get you back in action, because it's apparent that the recent events that you have been involved in have caused a great commotion and alarm. They're certainly aware of what has happened. Presumably Roderick has been kind of making his reports and also returned the recording drone to them. So they're able to get a basic idea of what has happened. And as soon as you are, basically recovered enough to kind of walk and talk and so forth, you are met by an envoy from the church, who wish to basically, kind of debrief you for a start and consult with you and meet with you. So let's see. So this should start as a black screen for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks black.
So this is how Greatest Grandkirk looks from the ground. It's a kind of large city. It's in a relatively kind of, you might say, medieval style. It's not a big, doesn't have skyscrapers or glass or anything like that, like the city next to the insects did. And as you can see in the middle, there is a very large kind of grand structure, which is essentially the cathedral and headquarters of the church. As you get, let's say there's a couple of kind of fairly ornate kind of open carriages that drawn by big, strange kind of cargo beasts that run you at great speed through the capital. But as you pass, you can actually see there's a fair amount of the citizens of the city who are actually turned out in the streets, and they're actually kind of whooping and yelling at you as you go past, and some of them are even kind of waving signs or throwing confetti and stuff like that as whatever they've been told, they seem to be kind of aware of who you are and that you have returned to the city after a great trial, and to have achieved basically to have intercepted a incoming threat. So your names seem to be known in the city.
Famous.
Yes, but
I, as an inveterate show-off, is like...
oh, nice. So you're kind of grandstanding from the wagon. Yeah, they don't stop to let you grandstand with the civilians. But yeah, kind of throughout most of the route of the city, there's people who are turning out and kind of giving you love. As you get, and they also throw in some things like bunches of flowers and things, and I don't know, little trinkets and signs of their well wishes.
Sniff flowers.
Let's say there's a few complimentary packets of tasty drugs and stuff in there as well.
They know me so well.
So you get taken at great speed through the city. You come towards the center and you see a scene similar to this. So this is as you're approaching the Grand Cathedral. It's kind of towering up into the sky above you, and you get there's kind of a like something between a large moat and the kind of lake that is surrounding it. So the access to it is restricted by bridges, and you go thundering across one of them and into the space beyond, which is a place where, as the kind of central and perhaps most kind of sacred in some ways kind of repository and stronghold of the church, access to most citizens is restricted, and even people relatively high up in the company, for example, and even some members of the church for that matter, would not necessarily be allowed access to this particular place. But you are being taken in there. The warden is with you, by the way, and is just kind of catching up and keeping your spirits up and that kind of thing. As you alight in the kind of, I guess, grand gatehouse of the cathedral, you get greeted by more, attendants, I guess, of the church, who kind of greet you with honor and invite you to enter and to meet the the Council of the Grand Hierarchs of the Church. So you get taken inside. It is a very impressive sight inside. It's probably the most kind of advanced and technologically sophisticated kind of building or facility in the Safe Reaches. There's kind of huge atriums and corridors and hallways and accretions of kind of machinery and things, most of which their intent is not immediately apparent, but the overall kind of feel of the place is like the grandest library imaginable, as there is all kinds of stores of kind of books and documents and screens with access to huge data banks, collections of technology and kind of ciphers and artifacts and all that kind of thing. Part of the building that you pass through looks something like this. So you're being kind of escorted through these grand passageways by this retinue of church members. How are you kind of reacting to all of this? Certainly having seen places like the home of the insects in the city nearby and various other places, it's, you have by now seen places somewhat comparable in grandeur to this, but certainly it's still the kind of thing that from your life in the Safe Reaches you would never have had access to before.
Well, as we go into this part of the building, the inside, I'm looking up and just like, wow, this is going to be so much fun to climb.
And the warden says, steady on, rein in your ambitions a little bit, given your state, and besides, we have more important business to attend to at the moment. Your adventures across the lands have raised quite a stir. We have heard in particular of your involvement in the insect war, which is something the church actually had an interest in anyway. We are rather impressed by the way that you resolved that particular situation.
Oh, thank goodness that's what they were paying attention to.
Oh, it was nothing.
I'm surprised that you were following us that far. I didn't think you could. I thought we'd gone out truly into the unknown.
Carousel Bink has his ways.
Yeah.
At
Well,
Carousel Link.
we have our ways of collecting information. You were off our radar for quite a long time. We actually thought we had lost you, or perhaps that you weren't going to survive the crash of that spaceship that you requisitioned so spectacularly. But eventually we were
Now
able
he suddenly
to.
just stops sort of showing off and gets quiet for a time.
Would that be the first spaceship or the second spaceship?
As in
The first one.
what
Gosh,
you called
yeah.
Mother Mountain,
Yeah.
which you made an exit with.
Lower lips
Eventually, yeah. Eventually, we were able to find the the happenstance of what happened over there, and quite a lucky landing you had that managed to get you involved in the happenings over on the other side of the world, and eventually get you the means to come back here, which is quite fortuitous. Because most importantly of all, of course, you happened upon the incursion of what we call the remains of the grand raiding fleets of a certain civilization who have caused us a lot of trouble in the past. And in fact, they're more or less responsible for the state of the world as you see it now. Sorry to be bombarding you with so much information, guys, but there is a lot that you have to be caught up on if you're going to help us deal with this situation. You see, the fleet that has been summoned into our world now is one that we thought we had seen the back of for a long time, since we thought we had the remnants of them captured in the graveyard that you saw and safely ensconced there for all eternity. But it turns out that a certain rogue element was able to escape from there and upset that particular balance. So now we have that to deal with, which is it's a good way to liven up events, I suppose. It was getting a little bit boring with without a major war for the last, I think it's been about 700 years. So this is going to be rather exciting. Is there, let's see, so she's just kind of chatting about that as you get drawn further into the building. Is there any particular questions that you ask immediately before you come before the council?
Fayen is purposely going to make a point of not asking any questions and avoiding eye contact when he mentioned that, oh yeah, things got really bad after the graveyard that we safely locked away prisoners in.
Why weren't these sort of dangerous individuals just killed rather than imprisoned for all eternity? I mean, if anything, that just seems needlessly cruel.
Well, that is not actually a situation that was brought about by us as such. It was the result of the conflict between the raiding fleet and a let's call them a collective of visitants who happened to be in the on planet at that time. They had previous dealings with these raiders who had truly marauded right the way across the galaxy, sowing destruction wherever they went. And it is as a result of, you may say, moral debts rung up during that period that they were subjected to that treatment. Although we were essentially given over control of that place, it was on the proviso that we not interfere with the situation there, and instead simply merely accept the fact that it had supposedly, we thought, brought a resolution to that situation.
Okay, I see.
So as you're being kind of escorted down these passageways, you start to hear. Let's see. Hold on. I have a picture missing here. Oh yeah. Okay. So you start. So as you know, inside this building, there is all around you a kind of great hum and whir and kind of thump and clunk and clank of machinery and technology and all that kind of thing. And the air has a rather kind of metallic, kind of ozone-y kind of feel to it and scent to it. But as you start to approach what seems like it must be roughly the center of the building, you start to see more in the way of kind of plants and greenery and wildlife. First, just in the form of kind of planters and trees and things that are kind of set around the place by way of decoration. But you start to pass through areas that are kind of like indoor groves and things like that, and just little indoor kind of parks and things. And the air starts to take on a more natural feeling, and you can almost hear the kind of sigh and whoosh of wind, and even a strange warbling kind of bird song. And you eventually get brought into a large kind of antechamber or atrium, I guess you might say. It's kind of rough. I don't have a map handy, but it's kind of roughly circular. It's high ceilinged, made of kind of very smooth stone, somewhat like actually not quite like marble, but more like very well worked granite. And there are several large entrances or doors kind of laid in a regular pattern around there. They seem each to lead into a different kind of space, and they seem to be large spaces. Many of them are actually outdoors or open, or there's a couple that seem to open into the large causeway of a city. But all the spaces seem like they should overlap with each other. In other words, it seems like these doors are more like portals into various other spaces rather than just plain old entrances.
Those sound fun.
Yes, in the central one, which you can see just through the background of it, seems to lead into one of these rather natural kind of areas. There is a large or a tall and rather graceful, when I say tall, I mean twice or more the size of a normal person, figure who is kind of awaiting you, flanked by a couple of I don't know, advisors or just kind of others who are all rather ornately dressed, and they are surrounded by a cadre of guards. The scene looks like this. And let's see. So the figure in the, let's say the kind of lady in the middle, who looks rather graceful and noble, and to those of you sensitive to such things, radiating a rather considerable amount of kind of latent power. She has her arms kind of folded over her waist, and as you approach the room, she kind of spreads her arms out and says, "Welcome to you who have come so far and done so much. We have much to discuss. Please follow us." And she turns and steps into that space, followed by the others at her side, and indeed the great beast who is also at her side. So you are kind of invited to follow her through. Let me just, I'm missing one of these pictures.
How big is that beast? It looks like it's hard to judge perspective.
Yeah, it's roughly as tall as a person at the withers.
Okay.
Wow. Wearing a monocle.
It looks like wearing a monocle.
And it has a mohawk, so
let's say it is. I think that's a marking in the picture, but yeah, let's say it's wearing a monocle.
Let's call it Mocat.
And
Can I reach behind and scratch it behind the ears?
Oh, boy.
As you do that, it turns its head towards you and it says, "Oi, lay off, but nice work out there."
Oh well.
Sorry, you're just so cute.
Yeah, I get that a lot. All right, sorry, just trying to.
Loving a monocle.
Oh well, I'm getting on in age a little, you see. So
Very
as you.
stylish. Oh, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked just by
Butter up.
So as you get escorted along with these people through the doorway, it leads, indeed, as you suspected, into a area that is clearly not actually inside the cathedral. It is a large, open, kind of somewhat forested area. It's actually, there doesn't seem to be anything here in the way of like buildings or civilization or anything like that. It's just kind of purely natural, although you do see, again, some rather ornately dressed and important seeming people kind of scattered around the place as you get escorted through into a large clearing or kind of opening with a what is this? Like half a dozen, like 6 to 8 people, I think. I'll count them in a second. Again, very important looking, and they are sat around on a large. There's kind of a what's the word? Kind of an amphitheater. Like shape of kind of roots basically and plant life that is kind of the roots and things are large enough that they provide a lot of kind of seating basically, like places where you can sit and be kind of surrounded by leaves and grass and things. However, sorry, say again?
Like a small forum.
Yeah. Forum is a good word for it. However, something unusual about it is that the banks, as it were, of this kind of forum go around and form the shoulders and then the neck and indeed the head of a large being who looks like, hopefully, yes, looks like this.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay, so did you say the people are sitting on his shoulders, or
yeah, kind of on the
shoulders?
yeah. So the you can see kind of there's kind of the shoulders or the beginnings of the arms of this great being are kind of stretched out. I imagine them, I guess, maybe slightly larger than they're kind of shown there, and seated on or stood on around there, you know, to varying extents based on their forms, are these important looking people who the warden says that's the Grand Council, and they are of various forms, and they look like, these are going to be below the other pictures, they look like this.
Cool.
Oh, everything just got very shonen.
I love that first one. I just love it.
We just got our roster of badasses.
It's so awesome.
Do you recognize any of those people?
Oh,
Yes! Yes! Magic Brian.
Yes, you do indeed recognize. Hold on, let me
Magic Brian.
see,
Oh, is this
see if I can.
Adventure Zone?
No, it's
Not that different Magic Brian. Okay.
Our Magic
aha.
Brian.
So his name is Jaina
Oh, yeah.
Hudoitsu, and he says, it is fantastic to see you all again. Oh, I'm so overjoyed. But the
I do love that first one though, that's brilliant.
yes,
It's so amazing.
so that guy is sat kind of near the hold on, let me get my thingamajig. So the oops, nope. Hold on 2 seconds, I just need to put these pictures in the background. Oop. And okay, right. So the guy on the left is kind of sat placidly near, let's say, the kind of left shoulder of the what to call her? So the big head that is overlooking all of this. Let's call her the Pope.
Okay.
The warden nudges.
Amber Pope? Is that it in Numenera?
Perhaps so. The warden just nudges you in the ribs and points and says, "That's the Pope. Don't be rude." And but the Pope is
They're very polite people.
the Pope slowly opens her eyes, which are they have a kind of they're kind of golden colored, but they have a remarkable kind of depth to them, as if you're almost looking into a kind of golden galaxy of stars. And she simply gives a beneficent smile, and her posture is already one of kind of welcoming and respect, I guess, but she doesn't so far say anything. The
I
bird,
say, whoa, cool eyes.
she smiles almost imperceptibly more. The bird guy is kind of, let's say, kind of perched placidly, let's say in kind of the lotus position on her left shoulder, and it raises a hand as the bird inside it kind of tweets and bobs around, and the sound is kind of repeated but greatly amplified and let's see, not quite distorted, but it's kind of put in chorus and resonance, and it kind of goes whoom. Let's see, the guy in the middle with the kind of books and things does indeed have kind of books and things kind of floating around him, and in fact many they kind of spin and whirl around him almost like what am I thinking of? I don't know, maybe like a kind of tape machine or something, or like a hard drive or something like that, in the sense that they kind of spin around to present one book in front of his face, which he kind of reads things off of. Ooh, we got a barracks. And
Hey.
Snake Man.
Nick.
Hello.
Hello.
Somewhere.
Do we have a barracks?
We do.
Ah, I think we do.
Next.
Hooray!
Very nice.
So, a lot has happened since you've been gone.
So much.
I leave you alone for like 1 second and
I mean, just zoom
alright.
out and you'll get a little idea of what's going on. I mean, you won't, but
So broadly speaking, kind of going from top left to right, basically, just to quickly sum up, so you got blasted out of the battlefield by the psychic wolf, who was then apparently destroyed in a suicide attack by the rest of the ships. However, more of the fleet was appearing and warping in the sky behind you. The ship, which was taken over by Rogarek, was flown all the way back into the safe reaches and to the kind of effectively, as it were, the capital of the place, called Greatest Grankirk, where there is a large cathedral of the church, which you can see in the top left-hand picture. You got escorted, after being allowed to rest up and so forth, and nigh being healed up. You got escorted towards the cathedral. So you're kind of greeted by the company of pioneers and the church, who have become aware of what befell you. You got escorted into the cathedral and through it, as seen by the kind of third picture from the right, and then greeted by the Grand Council of, I can't quite remember what I called them, but let's just call them the Grand Council, which is essentially the highest authority of the church, as represented by the tall blue lady. She brought you into the place, into a place which looks rather like this. And it is essentially the meeting space of the council, overseen by the Pope, who is the big plant lady.
Plant Pope.
Indeed, Plant Pope. And the rest of the council look as in the pictures in the bottom. And I was just in the middle of describing them. But one of them is Jaina Hudoxiu, who is the illusorily disguised representative of the insects who you met earlier in your adventure. And he is the one who talks like this. So he has greeted you, as I'm describing the guy in the middle, has a great deal of books at his disposal, which he's almost constantly kind of looking through, and they're kind of flying out of his capey roby thing for him to access more information. And he raises his hand and hold on just a second. Yep.
I was about to ask, does he have arms or hands?
Let's see. If he does, they are apparently hidden beneath his cloak. And he says,
Greetings to you.
and
excellent.
various of the other council members, make their greetings and give a little formality and so forth. So
To all of them.
So you're basically ushered into the kind of central clearing. There are, let's say not seats, but let's say kind of big mounds of kind of roots and stuff that form themselves into comfortable seat-like shapes, kind of rise up from the middle of the place. So you are invited to sit there.
Long shot.
Sorry,
Is
yeah?
there something
Go
I'm
ahead.
supposed to recognise about number 6?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I guess
I
not.
don't think so. No,
They
I
just
think
look.
it's...
They look similar to I can't remember. Nye's clone, the like Iron Man armor she was wearing.
No, I wouldn't say that, but they are, I think,
Oh, well.
from it's in a similar style actually to the one of the people that you met during your trials set by the insects. When you were meeting the Portalmancer guy, you met someone who looked like that. But anyway,
5 reminds me of Urumov slightly, even though he looks nothing like Urumov. I'm not sure why.
he does have a shifty look about him. And but nonetheless, these are indeed the kind of highest authorities apparently in the church, and they basically, after the kind of greetings and formalities and so forth are taken over, they go through. They seem to have some information. The basics basically of kind of what you've gone through, and it seems like Jaina in particular has filled them in on the events, of your kind of crash and you leaving afterwards. So they're kind of roughly familiar with that, but they ask you to share your, any information you have about what you've seen in relation to the kind of graveyard and the invasion fleet and the temple and all that kind of stuff. So that takes quite a while. During that, you are kind of brought refreshments and generally made comfortable. Let's see. Do any of you have any particular questions for the council during or after that?
I would like to ask our friend whose name I keep on forgetting, Magic Brian.
Jaina.
How's Bob doing?
Yes, your friend who stayed with us has become remarkably successful in managing the lovely meeting place which he set up in that central location. And in fact, he has become well known and well loved in the city and is treated very well.
Oh, they grow up so fast.
A small tear runs from Zane's eye.
He says that he misses you a great deal.
I pat you on the shoulder.
I will always remember Bob.
However, thanks to your actions, the peace brokered between the two factions has held remarkably well, and it seems that we are in for a nice period of peace and cooperation and increasing of civilization, which is always a good thing, I think. So he fills you in on that. Any other particular questions? Bear in mind, let's say the upper reaches, the kind of higher authority of the church has always been basically kind of opaque to you, and indeed even the I guess the full nature of kind of what it does, what it's responsible for, what it knows, all that kind of thing, has never been entirely clear. Just to remind you, the kind of general policy is that the priests will share theoretically all of the information they have, but in practice that tends to be not exactly censored, but let's say edited and put into a form that is most suitable and useful for the actual needs of the people in this world. So most of the high level information is usually not really said directly as such, but it's become clear through your tour of this cathedral, and the warden presumably would have kind of filled you in as well. It becomes clear that they have access to a even huger store of information than you were familiar with before. And from the way they talk about things like how the graveyard was set up and stuff, it's clear they have knowledge going far back into history in a way that is mostly absent from the somewhat ahistorical society that is in the greater world outside, because it's the prospect of trying to understand everything that made the world the way it is simply too overwhelming for most people and communities, and all they need is the information to try and survive amongst all of these artifacts and ciphers and things, and to be able to make a living. So given that, and given that you now have access to a basically all of the knowledge that the church has, essentially, is there anything in that realm that your characters might be particularly curious about or want to try and clarify?
Where these aliens come from, if they have a home.
Okay, so asking about the do you mean the raiding fleet?
Yeah.
Okay, so they fill you in on more of the history of that. Basically, they Jaina says, now try not to be too alarmed as I unveil some of the greater context in which we are living. But you may not be aware of this, but we are far from the first civilization or even the era of civilizations to grace this planet. As you are well aware, there are many artifacts and ruins and leavings of the previous civilizations. And in fact, there were 9 epochs of civilization that have come and go on this planet in the past. Therefore, the world that we live in is referred to as the 9th world. One of these previous epochs that existed on this plane enabled the use of transgalactic travel and communication and trade, and civilization flourished as this planet became part of the greater community of aliens that inhabit space. And all of the stars that you can see in the sky, many of them are or have been occupied by civilizations just as sophisticated as our own, if not more so. In the course of these explorations, which lasted for, if you can believe this, many, many millions of years, in the course of this, we came across a certain faction of naughty renegades who had a habit of completely disregarding the general principles of peace and cooperation, and decided that they would take advantage of the lowered defensive stance that was endemic and start to pick off and attack planets wherever they could and take whatever resources they wished. It seemed almost as if they did it not entirely for the spoils, but simply for the enjoyment of it. Whoever in the galaxy was of a sick disposition generally was exiled from their own planets, but the problem is they piled up, and they formed these raiding crews, and it was a great trouble. They eventually made their way to this planet, at which however, because of the particular wealth of history and archaeology on this planet, the faction that I mentioned before of visitants, called the Enoch, were able to defeat and contain almost the entire bulk of this fleet and banish them using a means by which they were not supposed to be able to find us or anywhere else again. However, it seems that the temple which you came across served as a beacon that or was able to be repurposed as such a powerful beacon that it was able to be located by the remnants of the fleet, who still retain, compared to the technology available on the surface of this planet at this time, considerable threat.
Just as a side note, Nye stops sitting and looks for something to climb onto. More out of comfort than anything else.
Yeah, let's.
Like, a couple of months ago, she thought the entire world was a single mountain. And this is a lot. This is a lot of information.
Yeah, so let's say that as you start looking around for that, there's several kind of trees nearby, and as you start looking at a particularly tall and tempting one, the Pope seems to sense your intent, and the seat-like ensconcement that you're sat upon actually just literally erupts up out of the ground and quickly forms itself into a very pleasingly tall and complex and climbable tree that
shimmy up it right away, and then I look
Absolutely.
over and say, "Thank you."
She turns her eyes on you, and it is quite the experience as you catch her eyes. It is almost as if the entire space around you briefly kind of ripples with a sense of scale and kind of golden sparkliness, basically, I guess maybe is all that Nye really experiences of it, but it is very pleasant, and she again ever so slightly increases her smile at you. And anyway, so now that Jaina has explained the situation, let's see. I'm not going to go into the full dialogue for all of them, but basically the council start to kind of talk amongst themselves and with you, and some of them kind of explain further details about the raider fleet. So let's see. They explain that they've taken whatever technology they can, basically, from the raids, from the worlds that they raided, and they had a particular tendency or penchant to basically raid old war technology that has been kept around, mostly for historical or research purposes, that was kind of supposed to be decommissioned, and they brought it back to life, despite despite that being under considerable lock and key by the kind of greater galactic community, you might say, whoever was custodians of those particular pieces, and also it being, let's see, they struggle somewhat to explain exactly the concept they mean, but essentially it is something along the lines of a sin. This refers to an act which is acknowledged to be harmful and unconscionable by consensus of the Council of Planets who are in control of such things at the time. So actions which are simply beyond the pale. As a result of that, these planets had to kind of re-rouse their kind of military capability, such as it was, to try and fight them off. However, because they consistently underestimated the threat, the viciousness and aggression and greed of these raiders, they kept losing battles, basically, and each time they did, they would lose more powerful technology to the raiders, and that is how they came to present such a threat. The ships that like the one that you flew here, are particularly powerful, and essentially because they have warp capability, and because even though actually another aspect that makes them so powerful is they actually they managed to they managed to implement warp technology in such a way that it basically breaks the rules, and they're able to essentially kind of clone ships or almost anything else by warping it, and doing that in such a way that the original version is not destroyed. And as a result, they, whenever they were able to get hold of a great power source, such as a sun, they would multiply greatly, and as a result, they have access to large numbers of ships, which is why the amount of them that you destroyed in that battle is not nearly enough to cripple their ability to invade.
So should we assume there's actually a lot more beings like Zolokov on ships?
Indeed. They basically tell you Zolokov in particular was actually, no, let's see. Yeah, so they say Zolokoth is an ancient and very powerful being, or was an ancient and very powerful being with a huge litany of crimes that he has committed in the past. But nonetheless, he is merely one of such beings among a great number of them who have, taken up residence in the fleet, basically. They also say there is essentially not really one central command structure. It's more of a, you might almost say, like a clan system. So there are several strong leaders who kind of vie for a kind of balance of power that sometimes breaks and results in a kind of inter-fleet conflict, during, so somewhat like, I don't know, mafia-like, I guess you might say, where various kind of factions will be taken out and replaced by others, and there's various shifting like that. However, they all have they share information with each other, and they tend to come to a common agreement on what to do. And however, they review, what you tell them about your experiences in the ship and what you're able to pick up from the drone and things like that. And they're able to discern that it appears Zolokoth, before he died, had essentially sent a recommendation to be propagated throughout the fleet, that this planet was now, well, firstly, just that he had located it, and secondly, that he considers it rich in resources and low in defenses, and it is likely that that will trigger a greater invasion in order to basically scour this place for all of the ancient technology that they can find.
Okay. Is there a plan?
We seem to fear Stason Japham.
Yeah.
So
We met this legendary hero, Stason Jatham. I don't know if you know him.
Let's see. Actually, I think Jaina would have met Stason, actually.
That's
So,
Yes, Stason. How is he doing, by the way?
There's a question.
Wait, you mean he's not with you anymore?
Didn't he say he would return?
he disappeared, didn't he? He crashed into the ship and then he just disappeared. Maybe
Yes,
he flew off from one of the little aliens.
he is indeed no longer with you. It's unclear exactly at what point during the battle he left, but it's possible. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he clearly left at some point. Maybe he was tempted out in some way by the giant illusionary Jason Statham that was projected outside.
It's beautiful.
Anyway, so Jonas seems rather taken aback, and he kind of mops his brow and he says, that is rather unfortunate. We were hoping that we would be able to rely on his legendary powers and certain set of skills. Well.
Could we perhaps create some sort of clone of Stason Japham to help fight the alien threat? I mean, if
I
they've
think
got
that's a dangerous game.
well, if they've got the ability to, if they've got the ability to clone and create their own ships and creatures, why can't we do the same with Stason Japham? We can send an army of Stasons.
Well, funny you
What if
should
they
say.
rebound?
Can we find me?
Then we're all doomed.
Funny you should bring that up. That was actually attempted at a long point in the past when, well, I'm sure you are aware, he was mostly active several hundred years ago. And during that time, somebody did attempt to clone him. It did not go so well. He prefers to be the original. So we don't do that anymore, and we do not suggest it to him either. Well, hopefully he will turn up again, because otherwise we are kind of boned.
If you're going to clone anyone, it should be Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, don't speak that name.
And
Nemesis of
Sylvester Stallone. But anyway,
I'm going to try one for Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Love Dungren.
Nice. All right. So anyway, he says
But nevertheless, no, we are not without options. Although we are going to have to put on our thinking caps in order to come up with some kind of force or method that is going to be powerful enough to repel this fleet. We feel that most likely they will come to us because this is the origin of the first beings that they encountered, namely ourselves, and also because we keep considerable amounts of technology here, which probably we can't really avoid them detecting. So probably they're going to come this way. But there are various means that we could undertake, hopefully, to put forth some kind of a robust defense. And for that, I refer to my colleague. And he looks over at the, let's see.
Minim opens a portal and taps Jaina on the shoulder from behind through the portal.
Can you do this?
You cheeky boy.
I saw your portals. Can you do this?
The
space in their ships are
This is
tangled space. It is like a knot pulled tight, but space is thin, and it tears.
your friend is quite scary, isn't he?
Make this in their face heads. They don't like it.
Well, my creepy friend, that is a apt and useful suggestion. We have seen during the course of your own battles that your warp capabilities are rather powerful, especially when put into the brain. But however, I must emphasize that the force of the fleet that will be coming to us will be considerably difficult to use such means on, because in force and when combined in numbers, they are able to exert protections against the warping of space, because you see, the ships themselves are you might consider them constructed wormholes, which are under the power and control of the ships and the aliens controlling them. In fact, as I recall, you yourself were subjected to a reversal of one of your warps, which could have been rather dangerous.
Is there anything more about them we can learn from the ship that we took?
Yes, the green-hatted, cyborgy-looking lady pipes up and says, yes, the technology that you brought back is rather interesting, and we are reviewing it and analyzing it as we speak. And she raises her, let's say, kind of cyborg robot hand, and it kind of unfolds and projects a kind of like a holographic display, basically, which shows the kind of like a model of the ship that then kind of gets exploded, you might say. All the parts get kind of taken apart and they start spinning around. And she says, we are taking quite a lot of useful information from the data banks, but it'll take a little more time before we can get anything useful from them. The guy with the books at this point pipes up. He actually kind of levitates slightly from the branches and things and kind of floats forward towards you somewhat. And he says, actually, wait, let's see. Yes, actually, I'm not going to do a voice. But he basically describes, actually, let's say he talks not by speaking, but by spinning around his kind of books and so forth very quickly and in a certain configuration, and basically projecting certain words out of the books kind of rapidly and in order that he can spell out text and sentences and things, and he communicates in that way. And he says, we have a catalog of assets that may be able to help us repel this invasion. We're not entirely sure how effective each of them will be, but one thing they share in common is that they are currently not actively under our control. And let's see. So the guy to the left of Jaina, so the one from the right, waves a hand, and around the area that you're kind of sat in, a larger display, which is basically a map of at least the western part of the continent, so kind of the safe reaches and the outlands, which are kind of the area surrounding them, although not so far past. Basically, it extends about as far as the what are they called? The Iron Wastes, which are the kind of border in the east beyond which, at least you are not familiar with anyone having come back from. But anyway, it's basically the whole of the safe reaches kind of area, and some beacons are kind of marked on that map, showing certain locations scattered around the place. There are 5 of them. Some of them, let's say a couple of them are kind of within the safe reaches. A couple of them are kind of in the outlands, kind of one north, one south, and then there's one further out to the east, more in the region that you were kind of exploring before. And he says, each of these would be useful in the coming battle. However, we need to take steps in order to reclaim, take control of, or activate them. At this point, the warden steps forth and says, as it so happens, having reviewed your prowess in the recent months following your departure from these particular realms, we in the Akebe company, who, as you may know, are to some extent a subsidiary of the church and form part of their arm and their hand in the world, those of us who decide such things have universally come to the conclusion that you have easily qualified yourselves as wardens in your own right of the Akebe company. And it is... she quickly produces some contracts which say you will be compensated and given the status accordingly, which is considerable, but however, you will not have much time to enjoy it, because it is fortuitous that we have found such a worthy band of wardens, because we are going to call on you to travel out to these locations and take whatever means you can to bring these resources under our control, so that we can use them in the immediate future. That is, unless any of you have any objections.
I have a question.
Certainly, ask away.
I'll whisper it quietly, because I don't want to upset one of the wardens. One of the wardens looks a bit familiar. We went to a strange plane during our journeys, and we met a creature with powerful psychic ability named Oromov, who was able to project us into another dimension entirely.
I think you're getting a little confused. Those are the Grand Council members.
Yes,
So
is
just
he perhaps from the same place? Does he know him? I mean, he looks kind of the same. I'm sure he knows him.
so the
Wait,
the
who are we
eye-
talking about?
I presume you mean the eye guy, right?
Yeah, Fane's jumping to giant leaps of logic here. And he's
Are
probably
you referring
incorrect,
to, what was he called, like Omuv or something?
but... Was it Oromov?
Yeah,
I think
Oromov,
Oromov.
that
Is
was it.
Oromov actually a name? Where did they get that one from? Oromov. I don't know.
Might have been
No,
the
it's
Morph, I don't know.
So Omuv was the portalmancer who you found during your trials with the insects, and who ostensibly was going to send you to the next place, but instead seems to have attempted to sacrifice you to something within the warp.
Was
I'm sure it
he
was a
not the
minor
guy
mistake.
who was lots of guys, or was that someone else?
So the eye guy turns all of his eyes to you, being with Fayan, which is a rather disconcerting sight, and and it says,
Little racist, don't you think?
Well,
I think all
you
of us
got
eye guys
told.
look the same.
well, I don't know. I mean,
I mean, as it happens, he is my twin brother, but still, that's quite the assumption to jump to.
I don't know. It just seems that everybody we meet seems to know everybody else. It's kind of a small world we live in, all things considered.
Yes, well, we don't get along so much anymore on
Oh.
account of how he turned evil and everything.
Oh, did he? Oh dear.
well, you know,
I don't know how that could have happened.
every
Every family has a black sheep.
Yep.
Now that's just insensitive.
Okay, every family has an evil sheep.
anyway, so yeah, basically you've been promoted to wardens, which is not the same as these Grand Council members, but it's, I guess you might say it's something like fighting generals, like Princess Leia style generals.
So we have a team of Princess Leia's.
Some-
Is that how I understand it?
Plan. Into the garbage chute.
Well, she never got shot. She never lost a fight.
yeah.
Yep.
So basically, so having said that and received your promotion, the council starts to show you through the beacons on the map. So basically, one of them is situated on a mountain range, which is kind of, so let's say there's also a mark far in the east, which represents basically the site of the graveyard and apparently the site where the invasion is kind of warping through at. So that's far over on the east, and just to repeat, you guys are over basically on the kind of middle of the west coast, more or less. In between those two places is marked a large, tall mountain range, not the same place where Mother Mountain was, but further in the middle. One of the beacons is situated there, and they explain to you that located within that mountain range is a battery of powerful defensive weapons, which was left here by civilization long since past. In order to activate them, you will need to find the command and control center, restore the power, and somehow take command of it. And that will hopefully be able to provide a powerful barrage which will screen, well, perhaps all of the fleet. We are not entirely sure of its power. By the way, we are assuming that it is quite powerful, but this is something you will have to ascertain if and when you are able to reach it. He then, let's say he has a big, long, like laser stick with which to point with, and he directs that over to a up to the north where the land becomes icy and frozen, and he. Let's see, he points it basically towards, it's kind of like a large crater which looks to be at least several miles across, but which is filled with a big sweeping of kind of debris and rocks and things. So the crater itself is partially buried. It's also surrounded by fairly high hilly mountains, and there seem to be the ruins of several large, very large and grand, but mostly destroyed cities in the vicinity of there as well. Jaina says, there sleep... Pardon me, hold on, give me a sec. I'm going to drink some water. He says, there rests the, well, hopefully sleeping, but possibly dead Titan, which found its way onto this planet a long time past and caused a great deal of trouble for one of the past civilizations. Specifically, it was the 7th epoch. However, it seems that it was subdued and buried within that crater. We believe it to be the single most powerful being that exists on this planet, that we have some hope of being able to cajole or control. It seems, in short, to have been by manner of some sort of golem. At least we hope that, and we hope that it doesn't, when you wake it up, turn out to be some kind of angry ruffian who wants to cause trouble. Further, he directs his stick towards Let's say it is actually. Let's say it's towards the representation of Greatest Grandkirk. He says, in these very archives, we have a certain item which you might think of as a sort of a distress beacon. We believe that when activated, if we can find a way to do so, that it will contact a certain entity, you might say, who exists in outer terrestrial space. If we have legends and records, although they are very ancient, of this being coming to the aid of this planet in times past, because it was born here. And we feel that if we can contact it using this beacon, we may be able to negotiate it to also lend us a hand in this urgent matter. He kind of coughs and like ruffles his papers and stuff that he's reading his notes off, and points to a different location, which is down in the south, and it's kind of out in the deserts, basically. He continues, what other means we are able to unlock, hoping, that is assuming we are unable to unlock any others of them. These lands have not inconsiderable armed forces, some of them with the capability, through sheer numbers, if nothing else, to hopefully provide defense and perhaps just as a last line. But nevertheless, if we can find some way to bolster their power and destructive capability, ideally in a way using means that we can then deactivate or take back afterwards, this would greatly increase our security. To this end, we have located essentially an armory of ancient war machines and technology which we can distribute to our troops. However, it is locked, and so far we have not found a way to get into it, besides which there's not really been any need to unleash such technology until a juncture such as this. Finally, and he points to a... let's see. Okay, so it's an area out in the far outlands, near the edge, in fact, of the Iron Wastes, the Great Barren Desert, which demarks the east stretch of known territory. And there is, let's see, there's basically a kind of area of rolling valleys and hills and stuff, which seems to have been... It kind of looks like farmland, I guess you might say, in the sense that it's kind of split up into lots of little irregularly shaped areas. And on one side of it, there is a great scar across the landscape, which seems to have been cut by some great force. But among the fields and stuff, you can basically see, it's kind of hard to describe. It's not exactly like a city, but it's kind of like okay, think of it like this: a network of canals and of large canals and things, which stretches across a great area and is very complicated in the way it or interweaves with itself, and only along the kind of banks or edges of those canals is what you might call a great distributed city with lots of structures and buildings and things
built into the canal wall.
Yeah, exactly, and into and along the walls, but there is none of such building in the areas between the canals. Anyway, having pointed that out, Jaina says, finally, we have what you might call the, what we hope will be at most a final fallback option. This is a certain device we are aware of, which, and this is rather dangerous, I have to say, it is something which has the capability, potentially, to rewrite causality and to undo what has been done in the past. Possibly we can use some way, especially if things go wrong and we have no other choice, to find some point in this whole turn of events, either recent or going back into the distant past, that we can change in order to improve our situation. Now that I have explained all of these assets to which we have access to, I must point out that we have merely 3 days in which to secure as much of these as we can. So you are going to have to work very quickly.
and I think probably you will only be able to choose 3 of them on which to focus, unless you can find some means to achieve your task very quickly and then move on to further ones, which would bring us an even greater advantage. So I will quickly review again these assets. We have the defense barrage in the mountain. We have the sleeping titan in the crater to the north. We have the beacon for ultra-terrestrials kept here in this cathedral. We have the armory in the desert, and we have the causal splitter out far to the east. So now I have described all these. Do you have any questions?
Yes. You say the beacon. Do we know how long it will take this creature to arrive?
It is not entirely certain because none of us here in this council have experience of using it or dealing with this entity. We only know it by records that are kept in the furthest archives of this place and the most vague. So as with all of these options, well, I should explain it is always a danger to be activating such powerful completely lost what I was thinking of. To activate such items, it's because the powers that they wield is never fully understood, and its consequences could always be unpredictable.
You mentioned this time splitter as well. Do you know exactly how that works? Does it cut off a section at a time? Do we have to go back and change a thing? Because
well, it's not exactly clear because even with all our knowledge, it is still impossible for us to ascertain whether the nature of time adjustment, you might say, fits into a framework of multi-universality, or whether there is a single consistent timeline which will be in some way warped or changed. So we can only hope that this will provide us with some means to find a point in the past and to change something which will allow us either to change the current timeline or to transfer our world into a new one.
I was thinking if we went back and just knocked off Russell before he got a signal off, that would solve things, wouldn't it?
Something like that is a possibility, yes. However, I would encourage us to treat that one as our last resort because it is simply so very dangerous. Also, it is quite exciting.
I think I've missed one from the list. There's a gun battery, sleeping titan, a beacon, the armory, the time splitter. I think there was another one, wasn't there?
No, that is the full 5.
Full 5. Okay.
Well,
you will, of course, have access to all of the resources that we can make available to you. However, we are already using many of our other staffs to complete other tasks and preparations. So we will be relying on you to achieve these particular tasks.
what about travel? What would be the fastest way to travel to these things?
You can leave that to us at the time. We will be able to get you to these places without too much trouble.
Okay.
How long would it take to travel to one? You say you have 3 days. Are you looking at half a day's travel there, half a day's travel back?
We believe that, let's see, that's a good question. The process of preparing to warp you to different locations will take several hours each time that you do it.
Can you warp us straight from one location to another? I mean, can we save a bit of time by not coming back here first, maybe? Maybe get to 4 instead of 5?
Yeah, we have the means to do it.
What does everyone else think? I mean, I'm favouring the giant dudes personally. This Titan and the beacons of the other giant friendly person. May or may not be Pluto. I'm not sure. Yeah, I am just letting my mind wander with that one. Giant dudes have helped us well in the past. So,
What's right?
We've also killed our fair share.
well, yes. So if they turn against us, we have a fight chance. So, yeah.
So just to recap, what are our options here?
Gun barge.
Going
okay,
for
hold on,
giant
hold on.
dudes and like beacons and things, and
Yeah, let me just...
Yeah.
The armory, which is the key is lost for.
and then we've
Well,
got
we have
like time travel.
Yeah, I like the time travel one. I mean, it would be a last-ditch effort, but that might potentially solve our problem if it's like a last-ditch. Okay, things are getting screwed up.
How about
option.
if we do manage to do this quickly, we make this like the fourth thing we try and get to.
Well, which would be one we miss? I mean, the armory.
Well,
I mean, Minim can probably get into the armory, but I don't know. You can't. How can you move other people?
Yeah,
Minim
well,
can-
like 2 of us can teleport now.
I would imagine
Right.
that there'd be something weird going on that wouldn't allow you into the armory if it's that hard to get into.
Got all kinds of teleporting and walking through walls.
Okay.
I
So-
can teleport to other planets now.
Wow. Okay. So if you go to the armory, get massive explosives, you could always drop it off on the fleet as it comes here.
Well, I mean, me and a
Probably
few
is.
people.
Okay. Okay. How exhausting is it to take somebody with you when you teleport? Could you
To
perhaps say?
take 3 people with you, it's a 11 int maneuver.
And you've got a lot of edge, but
Yes.
still that knocks it down. So it's 6. It doesn't sound terrible. It's possible. It's plausible you could get everybody inside the armory, but we would
Yeah.
still need to find a way out again.
Maybe it unlocks just on a latch.
Maybe it's an automatic door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe we just need to find.
People just haven't thought to walk up to it yet.
Yeah. It's like, well, we don't have a key, so why
Well,
would
that's big.
Right. I mean, to be honest, if we go to the Sleeping Titan first, we can always take him with us to open the door for
That's a
us.
good point.
I
Do we
like
know
that. I like that thinking.
what do we know about the armory? Can we ask Magic Brian, because I keep forgetting the name.
Jaina.
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 The armory. Well, based on how much you enjoyed the Space Mobile, I think you will enjoy it a lot. It simply put, it is as it is described. It simply was an armory for a past civilization. However, it seems that besides their own technologies, they also recovered various of the other technologies that was buried and otherwise available to them. So there is a good variety. Let's see, in scale it is, I think it is about 20 miles across, and it is chock full of very destructive machinery. So I think you will have fun in there.
And then
Wouldn't
there
we
was... Oh, sorry, carry on.
Wouldn't we need an army to use the armory? I imagine it's not that useful just by ourselves. I mean, we get some cool weapons out of it, but
Yeah. For the moment, it will be sufficient to gain access to it in such a way that we can retrieve the items using our troops. So we will take care of getting the armies there and all of that, but we need the place to be, first of all, opened, and secondly, made safe for us.
Okay, so it sounds like we're all pretty keen on the Titan.
Also,
That's cool.
who's this, like, extra-dimensional hero?
Who do you mean?
The
said that-
ultra-terrestrial beacon.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah. So let's see. Let's say Omov's twin explains about him. Let's see. Basically, I'm trying to think.
Is this
Okay.
something you'd rather keep secret until it happens?
Yeah, I'm going to say actually not too much is really known beyond the fact that it's a powerful being which exists in the ultra-terrestrial plane and which has some kind of investment in this planet and in the past has defended it.
I mean, they've got a track record.
well, we found that Umarv is apparently the evil twin. Could he perhaps be one of 3 triplets instead? And that's sort of the pure good, the legendary hero come to say.
Racist. Racist.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. Is it not? So you don't have a third brother then?
Or you're just digging a
A
hole
third
now.
Umarv brother.
I do not.
Okay. Oh, I thought we were getting some like Chris Claremont X-Men stuff here with the legendary third brother. But
Oh gosh, no.
okay. Okay, so which one? Okay, so we're not going to be able to do all 5. So which one of these do we least like? Because they all sound kind of cool.
They do. Mountain Bridge sounds very helpful.
Yeah.
Leaping Titan sounds a bit risky, but probably the most awesome.
I might have missed something about Sleeping Titan. I think it melded together with the Ultra Terrestrial in my mind. What was risky about it?
The Sleeping Titan, they weren't sure if we could control the Titan
Right. Okay.
because it caused a lot of problems back in like the seventh world.
Yes, he might be a rowdy ruffian who wants to cause trouble.
So shall we pass on that one unless we somehow have time for all 5?
Yeah.
That's the only one that could be risky.
Well, as you pointed out, the Titan could be quite useful in achieving the other ones.
Yes,
There is
and
That would be. And can we
and I
point the
think,
mountain barrage at the armory and just blow the doors off? Would that be a bit?
They're not that close together, no. I
Right,
mean,
okay.
the map that you're looking at is the entire continent, which is, I think, at least as big as Eurasia. So,
Right.
so we're ditching time travel for now.
Yeah, it would be a good last-ditch thing if
Nothing
everything
ever
else
ends
fails.
well.
I mean, I think based on what we've always, based on the past experience, it's always good to have a plan B. Although in this place, our plan B can't just be blow it all up because we are where we would blow up. So that would end badly. I'd really like the time travel one. I mean, if we got the Sleeping Titan, if he can bat down the desert army, I mean, I don't know where else we'd find a key for the armory that has been lost. Unless Stason Jason just has it in his pocket or something, and it turns out to be his personal armory from ages past. That's not going to be...
Oh, that is the kind of thing he does.
It wouldn't surprise me.
But not something we can rely on, I fear.
How big is the army that would make use of the armory? How many people?
it's basically the entire armed forces of the Safe Reaches, so big army.
Right. That would be useful.
Sounds very practical.
Yeah,
Once we get
It
some stuff for ourselves.
sounds very locked.
it does. If we can get inside it, though, that would be...
Well,
The
that's
first
kind
choice
of
to go
Minim's
to.
thing,
Yeah.
so
go
that
there
could be
first.
good.
I'm thinking
Just
to go-
repeat, I mean, you have to get inside, but you also have to, open it, basically,
Yeah.
for other
Yeah.
people to get in.
But you figure, like, if there's like really heavy ordnance inside, getting out's not going to be too much of a problem.
Depends what the door's like. Like, what if it's actually the mountain itself?
It's
Then
made
again,
of guns.
I'm sure we could blow up a side of a mountain. Potentially. If you can't do that, we're not going to do much against a spaceship.
I'll bring a shovel.
All right,
Of course, I'll look a mountain expert.
Being big.
all right. Several of the Grand Council, as you are discussing amongst themselves, some of them are kind of offering advice or observing. Some of them seem to snigger slightly at some of your suggestions. You have been talking amongst yourselves, discussing the plan and so forth. It seems you've come to the consensus that the first thing to try is the ultra-terrestrial beacon, which is stored in this very cathedral.
Yes.
So let's see. Okay, yeah. So you are, you make your intentions clear on that stuff. Oh, actually, sorry. Having said that, one of them, I don't know. Let's say it's the book guys. The book guy pipes up and says, "It might be wise to consider before you start on your adventure and start to." Try and interact with these artifacts and so forth. We have all of the resources of the church at our disposal here, and it might be wise for you to take any equipment or otherwise any aid that you can from this place before you leave. So to start off with, well, I'll roll up a bunch of gear and stuff for you to take on your adventure, and also just if there's anything you can think of that the church would have that you want, then say so.
The entire contents of the technology compendium in the artifact section.
Am I able to get another tentacle harness to attach to my back so I can actually have 4 giant metal tentacles?
Yeah, why not? Let's say each. So you're still bound by the limit of like ciphers and stuff, and just a similar limit for kind of artifacts and things like that. So you can only take so many, but you can. In fact, yeah, let's actually go ahead and say this might take a little time, but screw it. This is kind of a
Let's
planning
go
episode.
shopping.
Exactly. So let's say you can basically just take whatever. You can basically replace all of your ciphers and artifacts and stuff if you want out of whatever you choose out of the books. But up to up to your cipher limit in ciphers, and with artifacts, I don't know. Well, let's say you can have one each.
Hey.
Apparently, I can get a bladed tentacle harness and a clawed tentacle harness, and the clawed one has giant grabby claws on the end.
Nice.
So I can actually use those ones to climb and the other ones to attack.
Nice. You can certainly take that as your artifact if you want. So a kind of upgraded Doc Ock type setup.
Yeah, I'm sure that's in canon of at least one of the various Doc Ock incarnations.
If anyone doesn't want to be searching through the whole book for whatever you want, I can just roll some. So ask.
Yeah, I just roll some. I find that almost more fun.
Yeah, actually,
All right.
that would be kind of cool.
Cool. All right. Let's see. Let's say I'll roll 12 ciphers and 6 artifacts just for the hell of it. Okay, so ciphers. Six. 10, 11, 12. And artifacts.
Instant Guardian.
All right, I'll put the artifacts in as well. So
Ostracized Vapor.
Annihilation Chamber.
Oh,
an extraneous leg. Perfect for Varix.
Yes.
Exactly.
Wait, doesn't Varric still have 2 legs?
No, I only one.
Oh.
One.
A plant jar. Oh, I thought. Oh, we only get one one harness artifact, don't we?
You know what? Let's say you upgrade your harness, and you can also take another artifact. Because why not?
Okay, I was actually adding on the harness. I don't know if I can actually wear them both.
Yeah.
at the same time. Okay.
Yeah, let's say that you can. You're in the cathedral, and they as soon as you mention it, someone comes up and takes your old harness and takes it over to a workshop, and shortly they return it with these upgraded capabilities. So you can take these ones that have been rolled, but if there's any that you want to just look up from the book or whatever, or if we run out, then you can look those up, or you can roll more, or
I'm
whatever you like.
interested in the chameleon cloak, but let's get back to that.
So basically just call out ones that you claim or that you look up from the book or whatever, and just keep doing that until all of your slots are filled.
Okay, so the chameleon cloak is thin, lightweight, transparent cloth. Activated, takes on the colors and textures of everything around the wearer for 10 minutes. And it depletes whenever you roll a 1 on a D100.
Well, I can't take the chameleon cloak because I'm already wearing a cloak.
I could chameleon it up if you...
I could. Ooh, that's a point. Could make it like a stealth bear cloak.
Yeah. I think just in general, don't be hesitant about just piping up and claiming these things, because otherwise,
Yeah.
no point just arguing over every single one who should get it.
Yeah, I'll just claim whatever somebody else claims and then fight. No, I mean the extraneous leg sounds amazing, because then I have one weird metal leg. Although the plant jar, I don't know what that is, but it sounds amazing. Plant jar.
Unlike a mechanical leg, this cybernetic limb is meant to be affixed to a position on a host body that would not normally have such a limb.
Exactly, yeah. So it doesn't replace. I don't have
I mean-
No, basically the leg will be attached
Go wherever
to
you want,
my
I
belly
guess.
button.
Sure.
I lean forward and then I sort of gallop. Yeah.
Oh yes. What happened to your other leg again? Did
It
turn
fell
into
off.
more- It fell off.
Yeah.
So you got more like one giant
Yeah,
snake.
I got a tail, and then I got
Okay.
but when the tail sprouted, the leg fell off,
Okay.
as these things go.
I like the idea of a galloping snake.
was thinking, I mean, do what you like, but I was thinking you could also just put it on the end of your tail so that you can just do super kicks with your tail.
Oh my god, that is amazing! Yes, yes.
You could attach it to your arms to give your punches the power of kicks.
Oh my god, it could be a kick punch. But yeah,
Yeah, I've
so-
got to look up plant jar. Chameleon
Yeah.
cloak sounds interesting, but I have to know what the plant jar does. Oh, it's in the core rulebook. It's in the core rulebook. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, if it has an asterisk, it's in the core one.
Oh. A living plant placed inside this device remains alive until removed, regardless of light, water, or other conditions. It's kind of cool, but
If we still had a Bob, it would be cool.
if we needed to preserve
Okay,
Bob's
hold on.
life, and
What did you want the plant jar to be? Because
Oh,
it probably
I don't-
can be that.
I don't know.
I just
Okay.
want a plant jar.
No, I think
The
okay.
name sounded better than I could imagine, but it wasn't.
I'm thinking it should be like a sprout of Bob.
An instant Bob.
It's like an instant. It's like like a
Just
kid.
add water.
Exactly. And then we can sort of communicate with Bob through that.
Do you really
Just
want
says
to
boop, boop.
replace him?
Well, I'm thinking more like, do you remember the instant growth cipher we had before? We just sprayed it onto the some offshoots of Bob. If
I
we
think
had a few
if
spare
you want it to
twigs-
be, it can definitely be like a jar with a little Bob sapling inside, with the capability to just instantly grow a new Bob if and when you wish it.
Does he also dance to music as well during end credits?
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Get
Okay.
Jackson 5 ready.
I don't know, what's the annihilation chamber? I think did Minim have?
Small canister. Anything placed inside it is instantly and permanently destroyed.
That sounds useful.
Very well be.
I also I was just as I was looking through my ciphers, I still have that weapon of mass destruction that keeps replicating, and I feel like we should place that in one of their ships so when they replicate that thing with them, and then we blow them all up.
That's genius.
They're probably not going to replicate unless they retreat, but that's fine. If we put it on one of the ships at the back and they do retreat, then yeah, we can get them to. Yeah, good work. Do you still have that? Did you not use that?
No, because I just ended up, crushing that guy's skull.
Oh right, yes. Okay, well I can take that from my cipher list at least. That means I can have another cipher. Subdual field. Didn't I give that to Minim?
No, you gave me a something else. Inertia shield.
Okay. All right. Yeah. What's this one do?
I think I gave you
Oh.
a flying mouth.
Well, this one oh yes, the razor teeth. I wondered where they came from. Well, this one stops mines within a long range, taking hostile actions for several rounds. Which sounds
That's
nice. Yeah, I'm sure that's useful. So always use it against the Titan actually. I'll keep hold of that one. Witless powder. I'm going to ditch the witless powder. That is not useful at this point. It's more of a low-level thing. Use against guards to sneak past them and stuff.
You know what?
So
While I'm at it, I'm going to roll some oddities for you as well. So this one, I'm just going to roll one each, and you just get what it is. Hopefully, there'll be some interesting ones. So, Nye, you get.
Okay.
Fayin, you get this.
That sounds amazing.
Minim, you get. Varex gets.
Aw, nice.
And Roderick gets.
Oh, we totally need that. My God, I didn't want to say anything, but I mean, snakes don't perspire, but they smell real well. So
Well, you don't actually have any smell at all, do you? Isn't
Nope.
that one of the things you took?
Oh, I think I kept losing that, but
Oh, okay.
yeah. But
I love the oddities so much.
mm,
Okay.
is an neutralized weapon a cipher? How does that work?
Sorry, is that if you want to use one or if you choose one?
What? Like it's a. How does it work as a cipher?
So
Oh, the
which one are
oddities, you
we?
mean?
Which ones are we talking about here, Greg?
Miniaturized weapon.
Yeah, that is a cipher, so that should be in the technology compendium.
Yeah, but how? Like it says that it's just a small weapon that grows. Does it just grow once and that's it?
Are you able
Oh.
to copy and paste in the text into the chat?
Well, that's a really short. That is pretty much a description.
Oh,
It grows instantly into a full-size weapon.
Yeah.
That sounds like might be it. Actually, it's just a.
yeah. In
Well,
that case, I'd say it can be like you have access to all the normal types of weapons, basically. So it can just be any kind of reasonable weapon you want that is just comes in a tiny hideable form that you can then grow up into a normal.
Just have a great idea. Assassination technique. You make the weapon really, really tiny. You put it in some water. You drink the water. You say, you activate it, and the weapon grows inside the person.
Yeah.
So all we need is lots of these and to hold some sort of dinner party for everyone.
Let's welcome them. Well, it's a thought.
Ooh, I like this one. There's a There's a mystery box as a cipher. Mechanical object fitted with a red button.
Mm-hmm.
And when you activate it, the GM secretly rolls 2d20 to see what happens. Which can be vanish, which creates a singularity and a space left by the cipher and drags everything within immediate range into another reality or dimension. That's at one end of the scale. At the other end is cosmic awareness. For the user, the difficulty of all tasks is reduced by 3 steps for 1 hour.
Wow.
Nice. Yep. No. If you have a cipher slot, you can absolutely take that.
I think that would be a. I was going to say it was going to be a useless one. What am I thinking? Yes, I want that one. I want the mystery box. It's like when I had the cipher, I did not know what it did, and the detonation, and now I know.
Nice.
There we go then. Mystery box. I will use that in a pinch.
Or, maybe we just die, so...
Well, yeah, I could accidentally suck everybody into another dimension, but... Oh well.
Who's taking what artifacts? Has anyone taken anything already?
So I took the leg.
You got the leg.
I think Bean took the cloak.
Oh, actually, I was tempted by the instant bob.
Oh, yep.
But-
Oh, yeah. So Fan
Yeah.
has the plant jar.
Actually, what is the instant guardian? Would that actually be the same thing?
I've actually got an instant guardian already.
Oh, have you?
You throw it in some water and it grows into, well, a little guardian.
That does sound like an instant bob.
If submerged in water, the pod grows quickly. In 1 minute, it grows into a bat-like creature, of equal level to the cipher. Creature sits on the user's shoulder for 28 hours, or until the user is attacked. The guardian moves to intercept the attack in its entirety.
Oh,
And that's the only action it'll take.
so
Nice.
okay, so it will just jump in front of the attack and take the bullets
Yeah.
for you.
I guess so.
Preferably while
Okay.
going, no!
I think I'll take the chameleon cloak.
Yep, sounds good.
Very...
Right. Might take the flame caster then,
Good old fire.
because that sounds like a laugh.
Okay, I'll take the bob in a jar. Which is the
I guess
glass.
I'll take the annihilation chamber.
Just put your
Right.
pinky toe in it all the time.
Just hold it in my mouth, and it'll just be kind of like bonus eating power.
But then you will never eat again.
But for like when I'm full.
Okay. It's like, wow. Who would have
1
thought Minimal
meter
become the
tall,
next
okay.
champion? What?
I guess I'm wearing this on my back. 1
1
foot in
meter tall.
diameter.
Huh.
It's
okay.
a bin, basically.
What if you...
Yeah, that's canon. It's a bin.
If you
Excellent.
could wear it on your front underneath your cloak, you can just, like, swallow people up with it a bit like... who is it? that
I'm
does
gonna do
that?
a Gara thing. I'm strapping it to my back.
Okay.
Be right back in a sec.
And just
Oh, what? I could strap it to Junior.
Oh, how is Junior? I've not checked up on a while.
Well, he's had plenty of alien to eat.
He has had a lot of alien to eat.
What's
Wait,
doing
you
here?
mean the dead alien? The aliens that used to make up the spaceship?
No, the the blobby aliens that Roderick was killing.
Oh, right, those ones. Okay. I'd say I don't know what sort of effect he'd have if he started eating shape-shifting, flying alien things.
I'm sure it'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah. why not?
Junior is a little spider creature which were infesting a previous adventure, and he kept one. And now it's his baby.
I've noticed the echo is actually coming from Corvine's machine. I can see
Yeah,
the
and
little green thing in the corner.
Presumably it's louder now because they've taken their headphones off,
That would make sense, actually.
so less blocking the speaker,
Hmm.
speakers.
Hello.
Hey.
You are being awful and echoing all over.
Echo.
Echo.
How are people doing with filling up their slots?
Alright, so
I have lots of slots that are filled.
where did I put it? Oh.
Oh, I also have the magnetic ink still. I need to come up with something to.
Ooh. A emergency stylist rushes into the room and does something with the magnetic ink, whatever you prefer.
Okay, I've actually just realised that I don't need my kinetic shield anymore, so I can give that to someone else. Don't think I've used
Oh
it.
yeah, because you've got that. How does that work, by the way, having an infinite
I can't be hit by things that would hurt me.
ever?
Yeah.
But it does also bounce you around a lot, so that's going to be
I don't think
interesting.
so. It's just anything that would hit you with enough force to hit you doesn't. With enough force to do damage.
Huh.
Because I was planning on using it as like a.
Is that just like
launching device?
kinetic things?
Yes. So it's like physical impact.
Yeah.
Were we going to do something with that magnetic ink, by the way, Varix, that I'd be able
Yes.
to like grab onto you easier? Or
Yeah, maybe on the tail.
yeah.
But what to put there?
If you're putting your cyborg leg on your tail, you could just make it really magnetic as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Did somebody take Metal Death already?
No.
Metal Death.
Metal Death.
Didn't you try
The
and use
most
that on
metal death.
Zolokoth, but you didn't manage to actually activate it in the end? Is that the same one?
The one that dropped on the
Produces a
floor,
stream of foam that covers an area about 3 feet by 3 feet, transforming any metal that it touches into a substance as brittle as thin glass. No, this doesn't sound like it.
No, I don't think that's the same one, but yep, you can certainly take that if you have slots.
Okay, yeah, I've got one slot left over. I thought the Bob in a Jar was actually a cipher, but it's an artifact. That's 1d6 plus 2, I think.
So yeah,
Ooh,
who wants a level 7 kinetic shield? Basically, if anything gets shot at you, the energy field tries to slow the thing down, so that let's see, it gives you a better chance of dodging it. Speed defenses against such attacks are modified by 1 step in your favor, and even if you fail it, you get 1 + 1 armor against the attack.
Nice.
Okay. Is that an artifact or an
Yeah, it's an artifact. Depletion 1 in 20.
Right.
Maybe the relatively more fragile people shouldn't take that.
Well, I think Nye gets into combat a lot, so...
Yeah, and Nye doesn't have any armor.
Yeah.
True.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I'll
sounds
get
like a
rid. I'll get rid of the flame caster and take that instead.
Well, no, this is just something extra that I have.
Oh right.
This is
So it's
something I
not-
don't need anymore.
I'm gonna say each person can only have one artifact, though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Someone should actually take this flame caster because it can like cut through 6 inches of steel for each minute the device
Oh.
is used.
Okay, that sounds a bit like my metal death can instantly transform anything into up to 6 inches of steel into fucking glass. So,
Nice. Those could make some good lockpicks.
Yeah.
yeah. Then
Okay.
again, oh, it's an artifact, isn't it? So that one's actually reusable. Well, I've already got my my bob in a jar and the tentacle harness thing. So, yeah. So at this point, I can use it to climb, can't I? I mean, how much weight could these tentacles hold each? I'm sure. It'll be
I mean,
fine.
we can say they're, at least your own weight plus probably the weight of at least another person.
At least my weight and one other quite irritable spider-based superhero. That's how it works. I can see the sequel to this end up being me fighting Junior or something in some sort of various shenanigans around the world.
Right, let's give it another 5 minutes and then call time on the gearing up. You can always, if you have slots left over or whatever, you can always just kind of do that out of the session.
Yeah.
I switched my sonic hole for a miniaturized weapon, and dimensional cloak for image caster.
Sweet.
Am I still wearing that shirt as well? I just realised Fayen must look absolutely horrendous. He's still wearing that shirt which displays his
that
muscle, bones,
muscle
and
shirt.
internal organs. He's wearing, well, apart from the kind of drawn, ragged look he has anyway, he's also wearing a very bedraggled bear coat and has been rolling around in a few substances that he's never got around to washing off. He must look horrifying.
And smell horrifying.
Yeah. Well, I've not
We
got
should
anything
get
to
that
remove.
oddity.
I've not got anything to remove that spell. Actually, no, it was an oddity, wasn't there? But I think it belonged to somebody else.
Yeah.
It's me.
I'd say, I think anyone who wants to have a quick power shower or whatever, get a new change of clothes and things like that, there's plenty of attendants around. So if you want to be unbedraggled, then you can be so.
No,
I think
cool.
I still look like a blue blob with tentacles.
Yeah,
from the
like
spaceship.
like a big whale guy.
I will forego the shower.
So are
I think
you
it's
like?
everything.
Does Rogorek have the ability to kind of like? Is he stuck in that form until he killed someone
Yeah.
else? Basically. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like on the way out, I killed one of the blue blobs just to make my form slightly more manageable.
Okay. Yeah. So you're looking like a weird, melty blue plastic man with all kinds of tendrils and stuff.
Did anyone take the anxiety engine?
Nope.
For what?
No.
That sounds good.
That does sound good.
Anxiety engine. Wow.
Yoink.
Sounds like what powers my life. Yeah, I think I'll definitely take a shower.
So did you find all of these images on Pinterest? Coraline.
Yep. They're all from Pinterest. Good old Pinterest. I've got almost 6,000 images saved on there now. So.
Wow.
It's a very handy thing there.
Yeah.
So do you actually search for them to find particular ones, or you just hit a randomize button and say, yeah, that looks awesome, that'll do?
No, you kind of sign up. Sign up for like keywords, and you also subscribe to other people's Pinterests, that are themed and stuff, and then it just kind of builds up a feed of kind of random images, basically. So I just scroll through those and just save the ones I like.
Okay.
It is very cool.
Very handy for getting character ideas as well.
I just love that giant robot with a bird head. Literally a bird as a head, not a head of a bird.
It's kind of like, you just in a giant mech.
Yes. A mech for birds.
A mech for birds.
Like Earthworm Jim, except a bird.
Yes. Oh, God,
Bird Jim.
The arch nemesis of Earthworm Jim.
All right, let's kind of wrap it up on the gear stuff for now.
Okay.
So as I say, if there's anything left that you want to do, you can kind of do that after the session. Just come up with whatever ciphers and stuff you want.
Aye.
Cool.
So after you have gone through the kind of stores and stuff and kitted yourself out with all the latest and greatest gadgets, and also in some cases had a quick shower, and generally spruced yourselves up and got yourselves ready for the considerable hardships that no doubt lie ahead, actually, let's say you've left the council chamber, but the so you've let them know that you want to try the ultra-terrestrial beacon first in order to try and gain an early ally in your forthcoming adventure. So the lady with the green helmet comes out to join you and bids you to follow her down highways and byways and through the passageways of the cathedral into a so the most of the patches and stuff that you've been going through have been relatively kind of open, like open access. Just anyone can turn up and, well, anyone who's authorized can turn up and just take books off the shelves and machines and stuff like this. The place that she takes you to starts to become more and more secure. You're going through like bigger, heavier doors with more locks and guards and monitoring mechanisms and stuff like that. And she takes you down a lift into a very large, like at least say 50 meters across by about 100 meters deep, kind of I guess egg-shaped kind of chamber, which is lined on the outside with something a little bit like kind of noise-canceling foam, I guess. It's kind of cut into the pyramid shapes. And at the bottom of there is a kind of white chamber, kind of brightly lit. Anyway, she escorts you through there and takes you into a room which is, let's say it only contains this one item, which is, let's see.
One thing I was meant to ask actually before we moved.
Yep, sure.
Would it be best to be sort of readying ourselves for the next item that we want to do?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh
yeah. There's preparing the warp and stuff. And which is the location that you want to be going to next?
I'm thinking the armory personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the mountain barrage? I don't remember that.
Oh,
So that's kind of like a big defense battery of guns and lasers and stuff. So it's kind of like anti-aircraft battery,
Okay. Sure.
but like the size of a mountain range.
Excellent.
it's the size of the mountain range.
Yeah.
Well, more or less, yeah. It's
Okay.
built into the mountain range.
It fires
Okay.
mountains.
I thought it was just in a mountain range. Okay, that's actually that sounds really awesome, actually.
And you have to make jokes like if Mohammed can't go to the mountain will go to Mohammed.
Is it basically volcanoes on gimbals?
You will have to find out when you get there.
Okay. I mean, I still think the armory is probably a better first choice because just
It'll give them time to arm from it and
yeah,
equip or sort of acquaint themselves with the equipment.
we might find
Okay.
something cool there as well. Maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
Sort of
Bean's
better
just
station
obsessed with
maybe.
arms at the moment.
I want all the arms.
Cool. Okay, so
Better
so the desert armory is going to be your next location. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so various attendants and messengers go off and start attending to the business of preparing to transport you there. And in the meantime, you are in this chamber. So the item which is held down here is a... it's like a small, I guess, like TV-sized, three-sided pyramid, whatever that would be called. Or is that just a pyramid? I don't know. Anyway, and it it appears to be made kind of kind of grayish glass or crystal. However, it will be apparent, especially to Minim, that it is in fact not entirely in phase with the rest of the reality here. So it exists in at least 2 planes, and well, yeah. Minim in particular would feel a great amount of kind of latent. Actually, no. Let's say Minim actually doesn't feel anything at all of this thing.
I feel nothing at all.
Which,
Suddenly.
if anything, is somewhat unusual. So the lady basically explains that this artifact has been in the possession of the church for almost as far back as their records go. It was left here by this being who is called. Let's do the name generator. Oh, I like this. It's called Now Praili. Now Praili. And just to remind you, that's this kind of ultra-terrestrial being which seems to have some kind of connection to this planet. However, beyond that, they are not very clear on its nature, other than the fact that it's described as turning the tide of a war in long times past. However, they've tried various methods to try. I mean, they've been reluctant to actually do too much testing on it in case they accidentally activate it, because they're not sure exactly how this being is going to react to being contacted or what actually happens when this thing is activated. But all of the methods that they've tried to use so far, despite being sophisticated, have not managed to get any results. However, despite not feeling any kind of force or sensation or whatever of this thing, Minim, somehow it seems like a very familiar item to you in a way that you can't quite place.
Well, he's very interested in it and is kind of all over it, I guess.
So,
what it is.
yeah, so let's say, do you touch it?
Yes.
I thought you might. So what happens when you touch it is, it looks like a solid object, but let's see. Yeah, let's say when you touch it, your fingers basically go straight through, and you're able to reach inside it. But when you reach what would be the other side, you don't meet any resistance and are able to continue reaching further inside it. When you do that, let's see. So the sensation, it's a weird dimensional monster thing, so it can't be fully described to Euclidean beings or whatever. But it kind of feels, if anything, like you've stuck your hand into a car wash. The big spinning brush things. So it's like, your whole arm is just being like brushed between 2 of those. Basically, it's like a turbulent, kind of windy kind of feeling. Just to remind you, this thing is about the size of a small TV, or let's say it's like about the size of a microwave.
I stick my head in.
What happens when you do that is, let's see. Okay, so the others see you just scamper up to this thing and poke and prod at it, and then just suddenly dive your head straight in. Whereupon, from their perspective, it basically, let's see. Yeah, it looks weird because they can see your head through the surface of the glass, but it cuts off, as it were, where the crystal cuts off. So, yeah, it just looks very strange and kind of Escher-esque, basically.
Can we see inside the top of his head as it cuts off?
Oh, you wouldn't want to.
Yeah, let's say that they can. I mean, unless you want to veto this, Minim. If that does happen, what would they see inside of your weird, dull porcelain head?
Believe it or not, this isn't something that I was going to have to come up with. I didn't think this was something I was going to have to think of.
What is inside Minim?
Look, okay, I know what the inside of my character's head looks like. Surely you've come up with it.
Yeah, I mean, how much detail did you go into for your character? Isn't that like the first thing? What's the inside of your head look like?
Yeah.
I think that if you can see into his head, then there's going to be just some sort of spatial weirdness going on. It's going to be you looking into his head, looking at you looking into his head.
So when you look into Minim's head stares back at you.
And
So
on
it's like
forever.
So it's like some kind of weird concave mirror or
I'm trying to
effect
think.
or something.
This seems like something you may well have read. Have you ever read Lock and Key?
Yes.
Don't think so.
Like they put these keys into. There's these magic keys, and if you have them, people have keyholes on the back of their heads, and you can pop them into their heads and twist them. Or was this one key? I think it's just one particular key.
One key,
and then their head opens up, and you can see their thoughts walking around inside their head.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a weird key. But
Yeah.
I did get what you mean. That makes sense.
It was cool though.
So,
All right. So
inside Minim's head, there's another Minim just staring up in the middle of a black void.
So, with that said, Minim sticks his head into this weird dimensional portal. What happens when you do that is, I guess the simplest way to put it is you recognize that the space that you are now looking at, which kind of resembles, I guess, imagine like huge sheets of like silk, let's say kind of black silk, that are just being blown by a very strong wind and just roiling and kind of rippling all around each other.
Just
in
like
a way
home.
that, exactly, it is exactly like home.
Excellent.
It is the place that you came from. You recognize it instantly, even though up until now you haven't been able to, and perhaps even now, you haven't been able to remember it at all. You just know that this is where you came from. At first, it is essentially completely formless, but you suddenly realize a certain trick that is to you almost suddenly almost as natural as breathing, as you simply let's see. I guess basically you simply ignore the fact that the crystal isn't big enough, and you pass through it anyway, because that is something that you can do. Form and dimension are completely immaterial to you, at least in the context of this plane that you are looking into. As a result, at the same time, the crystal ceases to have essentially any dimensions and swallows up the entire of the inside of the big chamber that you are in, going only as far as the kind of baffling that is on the outsides of the walls. So all of the rest of you are also brought into this strange, billowing, formless, I guess kind of maybe smoky realm. All of the... okay, let's see. Immediately as that happens, all of the physical structure of the little chamber and the pedestal and stuff that was brought through starts to collapse and basically kind of ripple away, and the same thing threatens to happen to the rest of your party, Minim, unless you can make a intellect roll difficulty 4 to take control of the space immediately around you.
Please don't fail this.
And would either Numenera or knowledge of planar energies count as this?
Definitely the planar stuff. That's going to apply to pretty much everything you do in here.
Okay, well, I can basically do that for free, I think, then.
Cool. Yeah, that works. Okay, so, and I presume that you won't want to roll on this one.
No.
So you successfully achieved that, and all of the other physical matter does get whipped away. But your compatriots are you basically kind of, I don't know, adjust their phase, as it were, so that they are left floating in the ether with you taking on the equivalent of their normal physical forms. So yes, nevertheless, it is an extremely strange space to be in. It's kind of like you know, magic eyes, and I don't know if you've ever had this, but maybe, but
Magic
sometimes
eyes,
you can kind
sure.
of, yeah, I mean those magic eye pictures, and do you know what those are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and
cross
but
your
you
eyes
know
or
how
whatever.
and you know how sometimes you can inadvertently get the same effect if you're looking through, like, I don't know, like a blind or something like that. If your focus just accidentally overlays the things, and suddenly your focus goes all wrong, and you don't know what the hell you're looking at. That is basically what it's like looking at the entire space around you for everyone who isn't Minim, or let's say anyone who wants to make a intellect roll difficulty, let's say 6, and I don't think anything's going to apply unless you have this kind of planar stuff or magic or things like that. Rogarek might have something that kind of applies. Or actually, yeah, I think Feyen actually would be...
thinks he does. I'm not going to go as far to say he actually does.
No, actually, I think
Sometimes thinking
Feyen,
you do is what counts most.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. I think actually Feyen is definitely going to be specialized because dealing with strange altered states of reality is your bread and butter. It is
Quote
your life.
Garfield, it is amazing what one can accomplish when one doesn't realize what one can't do.
Exactly.
Alright, let's give it a roll. Ooh.
Nice. Okay, so to you, Feyen, you know, it looks weird, but it's nothing you haven't seen before, and you're able to totally compensate for the weird, you know, uncertain focus and stuff, and you basically feel that, or perceive the same as Minim, that you're basically floating in what is essentially a large empty space, but with other spaces and forms and realities just behind the thin rippling membrane that is roiling around you. To everyone else, things are completely strange and hard to deal with. Let's see, Minim, as you fully enter this reality and find it entirely familiar to you, you can feel the approach of a distant entity coming closer. And yeah, essentially, if you had to guess, it is being summoned by the beacon that you have activated by going through it. Let's see. Okay, so as it approaches, you don't like see any specific form kind of visually approaching. You just have the sensation of a presence and a will, I guess you might say, making its way through this weird altered reality state. And it seems to draw itself up before you while still concealing it, like deliberately concealing itself from you. Go ahead and give me a intellect roll, and again, you'll be presumably specialized in this, to try and basically unveil it, I guess you might say.
What, to myself or to everyone?
Well,
Because
you'll
I've got true seeing.
Oh, so
Well,
what's
true senses.
what's that?
You can see in complete dark, blah blah. You recognize holograms, disguises, optical illusions, sound mimicry, and other such tricks for what they are.
Okay,
if
interesting.
that
Yeah,
counts.
I think for most. Oh, cool. I think for most people it wouldn't, but I think certainly for Minim it kind of would apply to this. So in fact, you are able to apprehend the form of this thing, and let's see. No, I don't want to reveal everything about it just yet, but you
Sure.
do. You do basically, like, you get a fix on it basically, and it becomes essentially visible to you as a big kind of nexus of force that is clearly some kind of creature, although you haven't quite yet been able to resolve its true nature, you might say. You can probably try communicating with it if you want to. It seems to be currently basically observing and reacting to your presence, and it seems it's about to do something in reaction, but you can do something first if you want. Also, if anyone else has anything in particular they want to do at this stage, they can.
No, I'm just
I think I
freaking
would
out.
be equally, if not more, freaked out.
I think I feel like you're doing the like a scene out of like early Doctor Who or something, where the camera is just like zooming in and out of your face with like wibbly wobbly effects in the background. You're going like, oh my god!
Some amazing synthesizer music.
Okay, so unless you do anything else, what happens is Minim especially and somewhat Feyan have already started to kind of adjust themselves to this space and try and amend their perception a bit. But what happens now is that this creature, what was his name again? Now Praley. Let's see. It in turn takes action to basically modify the space and your perception and what is happening here to its own ends. And what happens is, all of you, even the ones who didn't get that perception wrong before, the space suddenly resolves for you. It becomes not so spatially and dimensionally ambiguous as it was before. Instead, you suddenly get the sensation that you are in what initially starts out as kind of just like a big white empty space, but you have a sensation of traveling forwards at incredible speed, and you feel a sense of presence like far, far in the distance, kind of on the horizon directly ahead of you, which you are rushing forward towards incredibly quickly. As this continues, the space around you starts to basically resolve and take on form, and your memories of your life, I guess before you even joined the company, in fact starting from childhood, start to flash up around you. You can all see each other's memories as they, the scene briefly forms around some particular impression or kind of memory from your pasts, all kind of jumbled over each other in a kind of collage-like shape, and all rushing past you incredibly quickly. So you get flashes of each other's kind of childhoods and growing up, and any particularly significant events that have happened to each of you. Let's go ahead and say I want each of you to just quickly sketch a quick vignette of one of your memories. So let's go from left to right. So let's start with Nai.
Okay, well...
It can even just be like a sentence or two. It's up to you.
Let's say you see basically her sitting around a campfire that's hanging off the side of a mountain, or what she thinks is a mountain, and she's saying that she's going to be the youngest person ever to be on the village council.
Nice. So the the entire form of Mother Mountain basically just rushes towards you out of the distance and zooms just like a foot past you on your side, and you briefly perceive Nai's kind of memory of saying that as it rushes past you. Then we have something from Feyan.
Okay. I'm thinking just Feyan as a youngish child, full of hope and excitement and optimism about the future, and joining the army and going on wild adventures and seeing great and interesting sights. And Feyan looks at this person, he does not have a clue which of the party members it is.
So nice. So whereabouts did you grow up? Just kind of vaguely. Was it
it was in the Steadfast.
Yeah. Was it?
Choose a specific location.
Okay.
It wasn't the area he joined the group. Yeah.
So let's say the rushing space kind of takes on the aspect of a desert. You see this huge, let's say it's a kind of smallish city that kind of approaches your view, and your forms kind of rush down this street, and you catch a glimpse of a young kind of Feyan, gazing admiringly at a recruitment poster with his older brother who is in the army by his side or something. That whooshes right past. Then we have Minim.
I guess there's an image initially of what appears to be like a very small boy, an odd one who looks like a little Minim, but basically still looks mostly human. And then he sort of starts to look up potentially at someone who you don't see, and then just like the image starts to do that like camera pan thing, where it sort of like zooms in but the camera moves away, so the background sort of whooshes out, but he's being drawn back into it and starts falling in, and there's a rushing of blackness, and what was a face of contentment now turns to horror as basically devil daggers happens but invisible. And at which point he just kind of like falls into an abyss out of sight.
So just to be clear, at the beginning, this was like a human child in the world, or was it like a
Ish.
creepy?
No,
Okay.
no, no. Didn't look like a normal human. He's always been a bit
Interesting.
special.
Cool. Okay, so that happens, and there's still this sensation of kind of rushing forwards, but in this case, you're kind of rushing through the perspective of the scene. You kind of zoom in on this boy's face, and then it ratchets back, and this kind of void opens up, etc. And then you find yourselves still rushing forward into one of the memories of Varix.
So he's going back to when he got abducted and turned into the creature that he is now. So picture Wolverine underwater being injected with adamantium, screaming like lights, cuts, the Clockwork Orange indoctrination scenes, and then suddenly fire and sort of someone reaching down with the emblem of the company.
Cool. So the scene kind of rushes through this very wastelandy, out of the way kind of desert, and then it rushes through to this cliff and kind of through the corridors and hallways of a facility. You briefly see a younger and much less mutated Barracks on some kind of operating table, kind of screaming, and then the whole thing kind of explodes into fire as you rush through it. And then despite as far as you know, there only being 4 of you, one more memory briefly appears, although you're not sure who it could be coming from. We know, of course, that it is Rogerek's memory.
You see a little, like, normal-looking village with a little boy walking through it, holding the hand of a elderly woman who's struggling, with like a cane and struggling to walk. And as he walks her into his little hut, she slides a dagger out of her sleeve, cuts his throat, and transforms into him, and quickly runs away. Tears starting to form in his eyes.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So that we kind of rush through this remote village. We kind of zoom in right on this kind of woman's face as suddenly the tables turn and this act of violence kind of rushes past us. And then from there, the memories continue to rush in and past, clearly coming from all of you, but they just come so thick and fast that it's impossible to really make out any specific one. Although maybe you pick up a few glimpses here and there to kind of go over later and ponder on the pasts of your comrades. But you start to recognize, like, basically it's going through your lives, like from the beginning up until now. So you start to recognize more and more scenes of your kind of adolescence and then your adulthood. And then coming up to the stage with, whichever for each of you led to joining the company of pioneers. And now things are starting to, like, it's all starting as your lives kind of come together and converged. The images are starting to kind of coalesce and become more consistent with each other. And then once you come together into a group, it all becomes much more solid and real. You're still rushing forward incredibly quickly, but suddenly you can see approaching from ahead of you many familiar scenes, which you will recognize as things that have happened to you during your adventure. Along with it becoming more solid and real feeling, you also likewise seem to come more into a like regular physical form. It kind of feels as if you're running incredibly quickly along the kind of ground, which is shifting and changing as it goes through time. You come, suddenly a scene approaches you from above, from the front, which you will recognize as the first time that you all met Minim. So you're on a kind of desert road. You can see in the distance this...
You mean Nye?
Nye, I mean, yeah. So you see this like obelisk-looking thing, and you see Nye fighting some bandits. The scene is kind of... it starts to keep pace with you, as it were. so that you still feel like you're traveling incredibly quickly, but you're not moving as quickly relative to this scene, and at this stage you hear a kind of booming, echoing voice like from the sky, basically transmitting something along the lines of let's see. It's expressing interest in your lives and in the events that brought you to here. And you can just feel kind of directly transmitted into your consciousness a desire for you to relive your life for it, although luckily in this seemingly greatly accelerated form, as you see these bandits kind of flying towards you, and you feel that it wants you to recreate what happened in this scene, although at a greatly accelerated pace. So essentially you've got to turbo slay these bandits. So let's say, let's not do initiative here, but in fact, no, let's do it this way. Let's do it one by one. So in this scene, Nye, make a kind of move. Sorry, I realize this is a bit of an abstract thing I'm asking you to do, but basically you're rushing through this scene at incredible speed. And what I'm looking for is, the creature's kind of trying to, I guess, demonstrate and enjoy the power that you now have compared to what you had in the past. So do some kind of move that is just going to use your momentum to just defeat these bandits in kind of one blow, essentially.
Okay, like a literal physical move.
Basically. Okay.
Let's see. So if I have loads of momentum, let's see. Could I do like a somersault over the heads of them, leaving my blade sort of implanted in them, and then?
Yeah, for sure. I'm almost thinking something like, you're all traveling together like through this scene, and what Nye does is feel free to veto this, is just a suggestion, but something like, she swings out her kind of sword ropes that kind of clamp onto the obelisk thing, and basically just give her the momentum to do like a storm of blades kind of thing as she passes through them. But that's just a thought.
Yeah, it seems reasonable. I was going to say, sort of fire the blades, hit the bandits, sort of in the chest, and then as I go over the top, reel in the things, so I like throw them.
Oh yeah, cool. That's something like that sounds good. Let's have you make a roll for that as well. So this is going to be basically an attack roll, speed or might, up to you. Difficulty, let's say 2, because I'm pretty sure they were level 2 bandits. So in fact, that's just going to automatically succeed you on this one. Really? So that happens, like as you rush through this scene, you just see Nye like sweeping out her blades, and just the bandits get kind of cut apart and like thrown up into the air, and you feel a sense of pleasure coming from the kind of sky, basically, as you resolve it so admirably effectively. What I'm trying to get at here is the thing it's enjoying about this is how fully you are fulfilling your natures, as demonstrated by the adventures that you've had so far. So that scene, as soon as you cut through these bandits, the scene suddenly recedes back behind you, and then you see this kind of lush, colorful valley approaching towards you. You recognize the big floating structure of the Balephron's village kind of approaching you. Let's see. So this is going to be Feyan who takes this one, and I guess kind of it's up to you. Either I can suggest a particular way that, avenue to resolve this, or if you have any ideas on how you can just like in one fell swoop achieve the same thing that you achieved back then feel free to suggest that. Which
point in time at the Balephron's village are we in, sorry?
Well, it's kind of the whole thing, like you're taking the entire adventure and events that happened there, and just they're going to rush past you in one go, and you have to take one action that is going to resolve it.
We know where the blob monster is. He's in that big ball floating above the village.
So is this one action that I would normally be able to take, or can I be a bit more abstract?
This is somewhat abstract at this point, so you can
so if I could somehow destroy that giant ball thing that will do it.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know how, even if it rolls very into the ground, just crushing it into a small, much smaller
Yeah,
ball.
sure. Like, you could definitely this is very much like the high action, like weird. No, I don't know quite where I'm going with this, but like the like weird high energy like scene in an anime where just shit goes absolutely crazy.
Oh, I know the perfect
So
thing.
it's like a
Throw it into the sun.
Sorry?
Yeah, exactly.
If in
Yeah, you
doubt,
could
throw
have-
it into
It's
the
the
sun.
campaign hyperbole edition.
Exactly, yeah. So like, okay, cool. No, I like that. So you're all like flying across this landscape. You just like, I don't know, you kind of urge your comrades with you to like bounce up off the ground. So you're flying up towards this big floating temple thing, and you basically just flying kick it. With this immense, like, multiple max speed that you have. And because this is a, weird dimensional vision type thing, you don't just smash apart, but in fact, you do successfully kick it and it just goes flying and spinning up into the sky towards the sun. And you go flying out of this scene as you get a little orange puff in the sun of it disappearing into that. Then you see Mother Mountain appearing in the distance, and Minim, you come to the fore of this group as this condensation of that particular adventure comes towards you. So how do you deal with that? Again, if you're stuck for ideas, I can kind of make a suggestion.
I don't know if this will be satisfactory, but that was kind of like the first point in the adventure where Minim couldn't just brute force do what he wanted and save everyone.
Yeah, that's true.
So would it be alright if, because he kind of like knows this spiel and kind of how this space works, if he just kind of, hard cuts it to just fire? He just doesn't want to see it again. He doesn't want to do it again.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, yeah, no, that's in fact make me a. So you can do that, but also make me a intellect roll, and this would be phasic stuff. Difficulty. Let's say difficulty 8. This is like a supplementary thing that you may or may not be able to achieve.
Let's see, where does 7 edge get you? That's 3, 6. That's like, what's that? 3, 5, 7. That's 3. Plus 1, that's 4, and then let's put in 2 effort because we want things to maybe go wrong. Oh, difficulty 8, not cost 8. Hang on a minute.
Oh, whoa, that's missing all the stuff, isn't it?
Where did the edge go? I mean, I still failed it because it would have been a 6.
Yeah.
Green one instead of a red one.
No, it's
one from awesomeness.
I really wish Yeah, it sucks that this happens sometimes. I hate it, but
no, it's
anyway.
fine because it can all play out in kind of like painfully sped up but precise detail.
Yeah, true. So yeah, no, I like that actually. So in fact, basically
he
what happens
deliberately
is
tried to resist, and that's obvious, but it kind of all goes to hell anyway. Which then the ultra-terrestrial gets to see the whole grim affair.
Yeah, no, I love that. So, so basically, as the scene is approaching, and in your high dudgeon and confidence that you have this all figured out, and you're kind of the master of this realm. You try and bend this vision or this event, and just simply, as you say, just cut straight to the end without going over the events that actually happened. However, at the instant you try and do that, you feel an active and indeed angry and kind of more than anything, I guess, indignant response from the creature who is controlling all this. And you find yourself, as you fly across the landscape, the rest of you basically smash through an entrance into the spaceship, and you get kind of a replay of the events with Tan Morn and the other lady whose name I forget, and the spiders and everything like that. You just kind of jam your way up through the caves and then through the ship and then up to the top of it. But Minim, you smash right into the kind of, well, I guess actually it was the middle-ish of the ship, and you just get stuck and jammed into one of the nuclear reactor engine nacelles, which you did get stuck in during the adventure, and you just feel this kind of horrible, like sickening sensation of being bombarded with this radiation until the ship just breaks apart as it goes flying across the landscape and crashes in the middle of a battlefield. At this stage, the others have
going through that stuff for me again. Not nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you're flying at incredible speeds, there's just tears like whooshing back out of Nye's eyes. But as you enter this new scene, Barracks, you come to the fore as the one who will deal with this. So I guess you can either resolve kind of the battle or the trial that you went through.
Okay, so this was the battle against the spider creatures?
No, I mean, so the big battle at the end where it was the humans, their peace broke down and they went to war against the insects. So you can either do that, or you can do the trial that you went through, going through the different portals and killing the dragon and finding Omov and that stuff.
Oh, okay, so I'll do the trial.
All right, cool. So let's see. I mean, I guess, do you have anything in particular that you want to kind of add into the guidance of how you go through this and what you do at the end? Again, otherwise I can suggest something.
Right. So, compared to the beginning of the campaign, I think he has become quite savvy, actually, in his way.
Yeah.
And so I think, and he's quite perceptive now. So I think maybe he just smells out where to go, basically, and so the trial becomes easy because he just knows which way to go.
Yeah, nice. And also I think this would play into your kind of enhanced senses compared to everyone else.
Right.
Part of your awareness during this campaign is that, I mean, Minim has his own, weird dimensional stuff going on in his spook phones and whatnot. But I think Barracks is just constantly hyper aware of the surroundings around him and like all these heat signatures
Very
and like
survivalist focused.
Yeah, and like sense that no one is able to pick up, and even just like vibrations in the ground, and maybe even other weirder senses that have just mutated in him. So I think, as you're rushing through this scene and you kind of fly basically right past the big dimensional anglerfish type thing that you fought and into this city, and the sensation is one of being kind of lost and not knowing where to go. And I think Barracks is kind of taking the lead in this kind of rushing group, and just you can just instantly sense exactly where you need to be. And everyone kind of follows you as you're just rushing through this city, straight into Omov's house and through the portal there.
I punch him though before we go.
Oh, yeah. So in fact, okay, no, I like this. So as you go into Omov's house, you get a brief moment where he actually looks up and clearly sees and perceives you passing through this space because of the nature of who he is. And his eyes widen as perhaps the other versions of you are in the room as well. And then he sees Barracks just flying towards him and then just raising his, I guess, like his coiled tail arm and just thwack! Just like knocking him the fuck out. And then all rushing and disappearing through his portal. And then you basically explode right into the scene of the kind of final battle and just, I guess and then through the great roaring projected head of Phaon, the presumed god. And then, let's see, so that's that. And then finally, you rush through the scene of the kind of graveyard, and let's say, because this is going to be Rogarek who kind of instantiates this last one, let's say you kind of rush through the scene of the graveyard and the catacombs and all that stuff that you weren't there for, and then you just thwack through into the interior of this ship, and you just have some kind of moment where you do something that symbolizes how you succeeded in that particular adventure.
As in how I got up to the...
Yeah, more or less. Like how you took control of the ship, or how you... I mean, it can be something else if you like. Any thoughts?
Well, I'm still in my blue blob thing, so can I just go up to the elevator and go?
Yeah, sure. So you smash through you all smash through the face of this ship, but this strange figure who you were not even really aware of being here. In fact, you're not actually sure if he's part of this group going through with you or if he's part of the scene that you're rushing through. But all of you see this strange disguised figure just shoot through, like smash through the lift basically, and like smash right into the kind of pilot's chair. And instantly the ship kind of accelerates along the same vector of movement that you're doing. And you all find yourselves just suddenly suddenly the scene catches up to you, and you just find yourselves, I mean, it's still very weird feeling and like high energetic and stuff, but you find yourself just suddenly slamming into place kind of in this ship, completing your final journey over the landscape and back to Greatest Grankirk, and then actually, literally spilling out of the ship through the city into the cathedral, down the passageways, into the council chamber, and then through the other, into the shower, into the straw room, and then into the
shower.
Yeah, exactly. And then into the chamber where you went through, and through the crystal, and suddenly, snap, you are left in, let's see, do I have a picture to hand? No, in fact, you are left standing in the no longer damaged chamber that held the artifact. You're all now outside the crystal. Reality suddenly kind of just like thumps back into place. However, now in the chamber with you is, let's see. I had a picture, but actually I don't like that one. Aha, I know. Standing in the chamber with you is the eye guy.
Eye guy.
And he says, that was delicious. It's been so long.
Well.
Hi.
So seeing you all rather flabbergasted, he looks around him in some, it's kind of like, despite having, I mean, well, I say it's the eye guy, it's at least someone who to you looks like exactly like him. I guess you're not quite sure if it's the same guy or not. What you do notice is that, despite having seen him before and him having been part of the council and so forth, now that he's here, or now that this creature is here, it's just looking around the like the chamber where it's in and stuff, and kind of drinking it in with its eyes and looking intensely over you, and like, it's many eyes along its weird instinct head kind of widen and kind of blink. And let's see, it says, let's see. I'm not sure if I can think of quite the right one-liner for it, but...
What are you trying to express?
Okay, no, I think... So what happens here is, having gone through this trial and you have brought it into this place, whatever its exact nature is, you're not quite clear. It basically... What it does is, after it's looked at you, it straightens up, and it has on kind of a, it's not exactly a suit, but it's kind of the closest thing to a suit that would fit on this thing. And it basically kind of shoots its cuffs, brushes down its collar, and then it looks at Minim with a strange, ambiguous expression that is almost one of intense recognition, as if it expects you to recognize it. Do you, if you feel like saying?
Daddy?
I don't know, do I?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm going to say, in fact, you feel that, so in the same way as the space that you were in before felt extremely familiar, and yet you can't actually remember it, this guy is the same. Somehow it seems as if, you almost get the feeling that, in fact, it isn't eye guy, it's just taking that form or something, and it feels like there is another presence there that is somehow intensely familiar to you as well, and yet you have absolutely no idea who it actually is or what it actually is. And with that, it blinks its top eye in what is clearly the equivalent of a wink. It looks around at all of the rest of you, so like its pupils are looking in different directions to look at each of you in the group, and then it gives it raises its weird I don't know, slightly tentacly hand, I guess, gives you what is distinctly a thumbs up, and then clicks its fingers and disappears from existence. Or disappears from your view, at least.
So is he helping us?
I think that went well.
I was kind of half joking earlier about if the guy downstairs actually had a super good third brother. May have been bluffing when he said he didn't.
Maybe,
Or
maybe
this, maybe this ultra-terrestrial just heard you say that when he was looking through your memories. And thought, oh, that'll be hilarious.
Ooh. Yeah.
Well, what exactly are the ramifications of that? You will have to find out in the next session, because this is the end of this one.
You better hope he likes racists.
Those eye guys coming over here, taking our memories.
So
That wasn't racist, it's just that they all happen to look exactly the same. How was I supposed to tell one four-eyed guy from the next four-eyed guy?
Some of your best friends are forward guys, I'm sure.
Yeah. There are lots of four-eyed people.